All right. How are we doing? Can't believe it's Friday already. This it's been nice to have a break, but it has flown by. Hope we're all doing well now that we're past the Christmas and New Year break. Mm. Did everyone get everything they wanted for Christmas? Assuming that that is something you celebrate. I feel like I should adopt more religious holidays, honestly. I feel like just having an excuse to celebrate more would be ideal. Tell you what, here's a good engagement farm. Tell me why you think I should celebrate your religious holiday. Good food and presents are pretty great reasons to get me involved, so I'll take those. Hey, Tommy. Skull Whisker didn't get a winning lottery ticket, hoping it's still in the mail. Fair. Would have quite liked a few days off. Yep. Oh, oh, that chat box is very wrong. It's going sideways. Okay. The what the hell is going on here? Let me just mm, and so what you can do with these shenanigans. Transform. Rotate 90 degrees. Of course it's upside down now. Okie dokie. Boom. There we go. Also, the text is incredibly hard to read. What if I just went change the background to black? Does that make it easier to read? We'll find out. Also, go like that. Transform. All right. Well, we're gonna see if that's better. I'm just gonna lock that in place, and we'll go from there. This man has the same outfit as he had in a picture from before Christmas. That's not true. I've got a different shirt on. I've had many different shirts on in all of the times that I've worn worn this jacket. Well, boy Phil says, remember to like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Well, actually says, remember, like, and subscribe, which is very orc-like of you. Suitable. Have I got tea this evening? I haven't, Matthew. I'm terrible. I never make tea for myself. I need a tea assistant. That's what I need. Or yeah. I need Lewis to live with me. I think I don't want that. But Lewis would bring me tea on demand. On demand. Hey Jacob. More excuses for your bosses to let you off work. And by bosses you mean me. Hey. Okay, so the chat box is showing up. The green screen is now showing up as well. There we go. The chat box is showing up, but it's incredibly hard to read. Why is this so scuffed? I deliberately installed one that was just, ready to go because that seemed like the easiest way to do things. Ugh. I don't think I've got anything. Let's make the font bigger. We'll go 26 size font. The problem is as well, you just got to wait for it to turn up. Okay, so that is a more readable size. That's excellent stuff. Oh, hold on. Hold on. Let's put this the other way around. So background text. All right. Oh, we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. Let's go 28 size and we'll find out. We'll find out. I'll just keep tweaking it. I'll keep tweaking it. Yeah, sideways chat. Hey, Vine. Does Mardi Gras count as a religious holiday? It'll do. It'll do. Timu chat add-on. Yeah, that's still pretty small. Why is it so hard to read? That's getting on my tits. I might have to just leave it for now. You know what? What if we just change it to regular chat here. And we're just going to make the chat size bigger, and then it's readable. That might just have to do, and then we'll go from there. Are you British if you don't got tea? I think legally no. Hey, Tanako. Catching it on your shift. Very nice. Become a Viking. You get all the Christian festivals, but have the excuse of drinking loads. True. True, true, true. No, I need to change the... Oh, man. Okay. Plus, you're Northern. Most Northerns have some sort of Viking connection. Yeah, true. All right, that text, the chat box is bad, but it'll do because it's at least readable. So we're just going to leave that for now, and I'll fart about with it on my own time. Orc says, I sense a disturbance in the force. Neither you or Amy submitted an orc list, or at least someone did. Yes, but you did submit a list that made me rub my eyes, which is a classic Orc Boy full experience. And I want to be clear, that's not to say you shouldn't do it. I do enjoy them. But you submitting, what was it? Not Trollhorde, Slayer Host. Yeah. There we go. Is there a holiday when you don't have to base coat demons anymore? I thought you were giving up demons and doing wood elves. All right, so here for Fix My List. Good to have you all. Nice to see that numbers are back in a little bit more of a healthy fashion. It was weird in that sort of like just before Christmas time. And this is, I want to be clear, because whenever I talk about money, I feel like I'm soliciting donations. So I'm not doing that. The December funds from YouTube are low. It's fine. I'm gonna be just working more in January basically, but there was not a lot of viewership in December. I didn't put as much out, to be fair, but it was low numbers because people are busy. Tizzy, can you still send a list? Unfortunately, I am booked up. I'm afraid, Tizzy. Already, there are 4 or 5 lists that didn't make the cut just in terms of not time. Okay. Hey! Thank you again for the last Fix My List suggestions. They helped me win the event. Amazing. Oh yeah, the Corathan, right? I did have a quick look at your list when you posted it in there. Very nice. Very, very nice. Okay. Let's get started. But before I do... No, hold on, I'll do that. I'll plug my shit later because I've just realised I need a code for it. I set up, obviously, on Patreon, I set up the coaching discount because I figured I wanted to kick things off. Multiple people had cancelled for Christmas, which is fine. Christmas is a time where people have less money and less time, yada yada. So I thought, I'll kick things off with a 25% off sale to start the year. And I didn't realise the way Patreon does discounts is to give you a code. So I thought it just automatically applied. But yeah, that has now been updated. There we go. Yeah, it's in the description as well. So if you want to do some coaching with me, I've changed things. I've changed the prices. I've also added a cheaper tier. So there is a cheaper tier for 1 hour coaching. And for all of January, there is a 25% discount for your first month of coaching for new customers. Returning customers, there'll be something else in there that I will do in the next couple of days as well. And existing customers are still at a lower price point. So this is the cheapest it will go. If you want to do some coaching with me, this is the time to do it. The code is 3555D for 25% off, and that's all in the description. So you don't have to remember it or type it yourself. You can just copy and paste it. Skull Whisker, does your coaching tier have an option to coach me to second if I don't want to win at first? I mean, it depends where we're coming from. If you're coming from first and you want to go second, you want to do worse at an event, that would be very easy to coach. If you're going from last to second, but you want to avoid hitting first, that's a little bit harder. It's when you've got more to learn, it's a harder task to reach the the finesse of not winning. It's a skill that is easy to appreciate and hard to learn. Hey, Tommy. Yes, I was going to message you actually. I will set up your channel probably tomorrow morning. I did want to double check it was you because Patreon uses real names and Discord uses not real names. But I didn't want to just message you be like, hey, is this you? So I was going to do it the other way around and message you on Patreon. But I will set that up there. You should also say into a rendition of Yaz's The Only Way Is Up due to your rock bottom pricing. Very good. Very good. You know what else is rock bottom? The number of likes. If you are here and you haven't already, please do give the stream a thumbs up. Helps me get picked up by the algorithm. That dirty word. And now let's get into actual Warhammer. So there was some interesting ones here. I think this is a pretty fun week to do it. So we're in a weird sort of holding period, I would say, because we're waiting for the FAQ to come, and it's hard to really plan for what to do when the FAQ is tentatively coming. It's not quite here. We'll see it when it is. There's rumors flying about. Who knows what's there? I'll be honest, all the stuff I've seen flying around, I'll believe it when I see it. I think obviously, well, not obviously, but when you're a YouTuber, often people will tell you things because they want to feel like they're in the know and they want to feel included. So when they know something, they'll find a couple of people to tell. So I often hear whispers or just full like bits of information, or see various documents. FAQs though, FAQs are very tightly guarded, and I don't know that anyone who's talking knows much about them. People will still tell you what's coming, but it feels a lot more tenuous, and it feels also like some of the sources are maybe making it up more than you would expect. Because anyway, I don't want to go too much into detail of it for fear of doxing people, but I'm not convinced by any of the rumors I've seen. So if you're planning around them, I wouldn't. Hold on. You know for a fact the FAQ will have pinkish text. Skull Whisker, that is spurious. There is no evidence that the FAQ will have any changes. Imagine if they just reprinted 1.5 and like, hey, here's your FAQ. We've just taken out the bit that says, here's all the changes. Nah, that would suck, eh? That would suck. So, it's nice to see some fun lists in here. And by that, I mean there's some stuff which is just less standard than a normal sort of list or discussion. So. Let's start off with, where do we want to start? Thank you, as always, to anyone who did submit a JSON file. It's not a requirement, but realistically, if you don't submit a JSON file, I'm not going to get to your list, because there's usually about 20 people submitting, and if 18 of them submit the JSON file, you're never going to reach the priority queue of me having to manually input it. So that's the easiest way to get your list seen if you haven't. If you're being passed over. So we'll start off with let's have a look at Tistic's list, which is doubles. So it's a 1,000-point tournament, Grand Lane, no units above 250 points, no doubles. It's funny that it's a doubles list, but it's also no doubles. Or am I talking up my mouse? Maybe I just read the word doubles and I assumed that it was a doubles tournament. Okay, I don't think this is doubles. I think I'm just talking rubbish. I think it said no doubles and I filled in the word doubles there. Okay, cool. Skull Whisker, it isn't. I've only been doing JSON lists for the last month or so, I would say. Or the last sort of like month's worth of things. Anyway, by the by. So this is participating in a 1,000-point tournament, Grand Melee, no doubles, no doubling up, and it was called Chariot Death Star, which is interesting. No one above 250 points. So this is all built around a Tyrannok Chariot Death Star. which is interesting that you haven't doubled down and gone for the prince in there as well, but that's fine. So, got a Sky Cutter, just generally good, and I think at 1,000 points that's going to be even better. At 90 points, it feels like a bit of a steal. Silver Helms and Reavers for core. I would not be opposed to like a scoring unit. I guess maybe at 1,000 points that's less important. You just want to table them a little bit more. Spearman and 9 points a model. How many can we get in at a reasonable points level? Not that many, honestly. Not that many. Oh. Stream just flickered on my screen. Is that... Did anyone else get a drop there, or is it just me? Okay. Well, if we're doing this, I think... Would I be tempted to just go all in on the prince? Oh, you can't put a wizard on a chariot, can you? There's no way to put an archmage on a chariot. That is disappointing. There really should be a way to do so. When I say a chariot, I mean specifically a Tyrannot chariot. Because flying units and non-flying units can't be conjoined. Buffered for a second. Yeah, I think it was maybe by Streamlabs playing silly buggers. Okay, well, we've got 2 mini Death Stars. The question is, would it be better to have a wizard? 173 points of Prince, which is not actually that fighty. Like, 4 great weapon attacks is fine, but it's not exciting. It doesn't spark joy. The Tyrannot Chariot unit, I think, is very interesting. You can't put banners on here, can you? No. Okay. So you've got 4 attacks per base, or per model. And you've got the D6 impact hits as well, which the Totem of Wrath does affect, I believe. It doesn't just say weapon attacks, does it? Reroll only 1. Yeah, okay, so it's only weapons get the AP, but you reroll 1s to wound for everything. So that's quite a big efficiency boost. Great Weapon, Full Plate, Tyrannot Chariot, Seed of Rebirth, Pure of Heart. I wouldn't mind a Charm Shield on here, although you're never going to be using the shield. You just... Are you worried about cannons? I'm a little worried about cannons. It's an option we could go with, but I don't know where we'd find the points for it. Okay. I mean, just as a... Here's a Chariot plus Noble. That unit's going to hit real hard. I'd just like to see it with more attacks. I don't really want to take a high magic caster here, though. That feels pretty rough. You can't... Dark magic caster. Could go for a Stormweaver for Battle Lust. That feels... At 1,000 points, it's difficult to fit in. Battle Lust, though... Frenzy and Hatred. You're doubling the attacks of the chariots. You're doubling the attacks of the Silver Helms. You'd lose the Prince for it. Which, hold on, you wouldn't be able to do that because the Noble's a BSB. And this is only... Oh no, a Stormweaver is Leadership 9. Okay. Could join the Reavers, but they wouldn't be able to be in Skirmish. Oh, they're not in Skirmish anyway. Could just stand near them. I am tempted just to knock off this Prince. Like, I'm not in love with 4 Great Weapon attacks. Even at this level, like, that doesn't feel enough. But Battle Lust, on the other hand, Battle Lust slaps. So what if we go get rid of you, and then we go Stormweaver level 3. Already, Jesus, already expensive. And that's before the Lore Familiar Power Scroll. That's a bugger. We'd have to cut something which would realistically be the Sky Cutter, and I don't really want to drop the Sky Cutter. I could do it as a level 1, but Battle Lust is what, on a 9? Yeah, Wood of Pain's a 10 as well, so you really need the +2 to cast here. Alright. Maybe the Stormweaver's a bust. At which point we could go back to the Prince, which feels like it just doesn't feel like it does enough. If you compare this to like an Exalted Champion or something, I'd rather have the Exalted Champion. You had Charm Shield and Dragon's Helm, I think, right? Charm Shield, Dragon Helm. Great Weapon, 173, yeah. I actually don't know what changes I'd make here. Like, I really want to put a wizard in over the noble, but I just don't think the wizard works in points-wise. You'd have to sacrifice too much. I'd be open to losing the Reavers as well, because the Reavers, I find are just incredibly underwhelming. Even with Cav Spears, you're paying 19 points. Is that? No. That's not how maths works. 16 points. You're paying 16 points for a T3 6-up save model with just a Cav Spear. Do you feel the magic is reliable enough? You'd have to go for a level 3, and I'd go like Lore Familiar Power Scroll. Would be how I'd make that work. Because I think Battle Lust... Right, so at 1,000 points and a 250 point cap on all units, I believe. Yeah, no unit above 250 points. I'm not expecting to see any real monsters. You might see a single giant spawn. That's about all you're going to see. So in that realm, Word of Pain, which will go off some of the time, and then the Tyrannok Chariots with Battle Lust, or the Silver Helms with Battle Lust, that feels like it's going to hit really, really hard at this points level. The only thing you're kind of lacking is AP. The Silver Helms are AP2, the Chariots are AP08/AP1. Double Giant Spawn. Would you be able to fit that in? Yeah. You could fit that in. That would be pretty good. I don't... I mean, this list just doesn't... Even with the Prince in, this list doesn't deal with that. The Prince just isn't going to do very much there. I don't know. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to say... I'm going to put the timestamp because while I haven't made any changes, there are lots of things that I'd like to change. It's just points-wise, it's difficult. So I think what I would do... discussion... roughly 12 minutes in, I think it was. What I'd like to see is drop the Reavers for a better scoring unit, drop the Prince for a wizard, specifically for Battle Lust. So it has to be the Stormweaver, which doesn't come with the reroll, so that sucks. But I think that adds a lot of oomph to it. It's just points-wise, I don't really want the Loth to drop the Loth and Skycutter. So I think maybe you've just got the best version of it. Like, the Prince could maybe go for regen instead of the Charm Shield, Dragon Shield, and then 5 points elsewhere. But I think that's a relatively minor change. Leaning on the 2-up armor save, I think, is just a good choice in general, especially when you're in a mobile. You are mobile and you're able to charge. Yeah, I don't know. This feels solid, but it just doesn't... Like, it's... I look at it and it's hard to improve, but it doesn't also feel to me like a tournament-winning list. Now, at 1,000 points, I think there's a lot of different stuff there, but it just doesn't feel like it quite has the juice to go the distance. Interesting, though. I like the Chariot Death Star. I think that's very, very interesting, especially at this points level. Okay. Well, since I can see you in chat, let's have a look at Matthew's Renegade Crowns, which was, if I look in chat here, a good amount of context given to it. See if I can find it in here. There we go. So, it's a character-heavy 2,000-point Renegade Crown list. Inspiration is lots of older Mordheim and Dogs of War models, which is very cool. It leads to too many characters. Yeah, that's difficult. So then we've got where units go. I'll have a look at that later. You'd like it if all the units and characters are kept in the roster, but size options and items can be modified. If anything is atrocious, then it gets the axe as well. Thought it could be interesting to make the list focus on being good against undead, but I'm unsure if that's a sizable task. It is a sizable task, because undead are the best armies You want to start painting now? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I'm currently painting 4 Road Wardens. Very nice. They're just great. I love the mounted shooter units. Okay, so just in terms of what you've got, if we're... I feel like this list is lacking punch. I feel like Renegade Crowns are an army that really want to make sure they've got everything. Like, they need a lot of output, I think. And the output comes in very sort of specific ways. So, let's have a look at what we've got. I think the Brigands are very expensive for very little. So you're paying 113 points for 10 wounds. That is T3, 1 wound, and you've got... Do they even come with light armor? Okay, so you've got a 5-up armor save. The blunderbuss are not great. They are underwhelming. I think... Like, so the problem here is you have spent a lot of points on characters, which means that you're really lacking in the sort of core units, which is the strength of Renegade Crowns. And then you've gone for the Brigands, who are expensive and not doing a huge amount, and then the Doomseeker. I don't mind the Doomseeker, but like you've got over 1,000 points of characters, and then only about 500 points worth of useful units, and that like something needs to give there. So, I think... Have you got a Dark Magic caster? Demonology. Okay, so I think the Veteran Freeblades, unfortunately, aren't going to do very much. A single attack each. Yes, it's strength 4, which is nice, and yes, they have a 2-up save, but you're paying 230 points for 6 models that will not really do much. Oh, you haven't even got the Barded Warhorses, so these ones are only 3-up armor save. I would say we probably drop the Veteran Freeblades, but if you want to keep the models in, we just go 6 Freeblade Knights, and just keep them as cheap as possible. Yes, they don't have the punch, but they are, you know, they bring first charge. They are a decent unit to bring into a flank. I don't hate having them in the list. I just think it's not worth putting them, like spending an extra 74 points putting them in special so they no longer score. Yeah. Characters axe emoji. Very nice. Okay, so let's move the Freeblade Knights from Veteran just to regular. That will free up some points here. The Veteran Sellswords. I like the Veteran Sellswords. Obviously, I mean, I've talked at length about them. I'm also a big fan of anytime you've got a combat res focus brick, always give them a musician. Partially because the rally's nice, but mostly if you tie on combat res, you have to have a musician. Like, you can't be losing the entire strength of the unit because you didn't spend 5 points for a musician there. Heavy armor, shield, drilled, flanks, halberds as well. Yeah, this is fine. If I'm going halberds, I'm tempted to upgrade to the full plate, but I think it's a lot of points, and I'm not huge on that. Outriders, amazing. I like a captain here. Just it gives you +1 ballistic skill, so it pays for itself on that. But also, just if you ever get caught, your 180 point character that's attached to the unit gets 1 turn to sort of buy some time for themselves by you just feed the captain in to the challenge, and it gives you a little bit of wiggle room there. I like Feigned Flight as well, I would say. I know it makes them quite pricey, but you're only paying 12 points for the unit to give them Feigned Flight. That is the majority, right? Yeah, it doesn't say the entire, so this is fine. Cool. So, good. Like, this, I want to go bigger. You want a decent chunk of models, because they're going to be trying to live on combat res. I'd like to see a second Bombard as well. Oops, I did the opposite. So I'd like to see a second Bombard goes. Cool. So if we go up to a second cannon, and then this, I like this unit. I think this unit's good. So 12 with crossbows, heavy armor, and shields. That's just solid. I wouldn't mind going up to like 14, because then you have to lose 5 models before you can't score, which makes it a little harder for people to chip through. So we'll go up to 14 and then we'll adjust as needed. Organs are not bombards. I did. It's because they've got the word border prince. It's this border prince detachment has too many things that are references to border princes. Damn. Okay. 145 points over. That's not too bad. Yeah, like this feels like a pretty okay core. We might even be able to leave the brigands in. Like, they're fine. They're just, I think, ineffective at what they do, but they're not bad. Okay, so then we've got the prince, who is, oh, you've gone heavy on output. I see. So this was to try and put some punch into the free blade knights. I don't. Yeah. Okay, we'll come back to that one. Then we've got the Noble Outlaw. What are you equipped with? Pearl Daggers, twice plus armor, White Cloak. So this is just a little bit of extra combat res. This feels fine. I will say, starting with 3 attacks compared to the other one is pretty solid. So I don't mind this in terms of output. It is a lot of points. It's 185 points for a T42 wound model, though. No, wait, hold on. Sorry, this is a prince. Oh, yeah, of course. No, they do have the same stat line as the Empire characters. Oh, that's so sad. I keep forgetting how, frankly, terrible they are in combat. Okay. Okay, 185 points. I can probably live... Like, one of these two, I think, makes sense. I don't think you go with both of them. I think you keep one of the two. I do like the Renegade Prince. They're both Renegade Princes. I do like the Pearl Dagger model, although I'd be tempted to try and sneak in the... What's it called? Laurels of Victory. 40 points. So 75. Okay, so you wouldn't get a ward save if you did that. Okay. And I don't think the Hammerhand would count towards that because it's your item doing it. Maybe it would. I'd have to check that one. Anyway, let's leave that for now. Captain, BSB, Monster Hunters Tapestry. Oh, so you haven't gone for... Huh. I would just recommend going for the Griffin banner. Making the unit immune to stomps is all well and good, but you could do that here and then change this to the Griffin standard. Griffin standard is just so much combat res. It gives you effectively +4 if you've got on the BSB, which just makes winning combat so much easier. And if we're being realistic, you're not taking cell swords to do damage. They're there for their combat res potential. He did consider the Griffin banner, yeah. I think it's the standard for a reason, in my opinion. Magic resist and then the once per game ward save as well is pretty nice as defensive there. Let's just upgrade that shield to a charm shield, because for an extra 3 points, getting that once per game ward save is really solid. Then, ooh, unfortunately you can't have the dragon bow because that is specifically for the Empire characters. It's commander to the Empire only, so you can't take that. Which means... Where's it going? Dragon bow, charm shield. I'm assuming that was just going to go with the crossbows. I mean, you could give it the whatchamacallit sword, the Sword of Sorrow, strength 5, AP 1. I don't really want to pay 100 points for that character. I think this captain just goes, honestly, and that starts to free up some points. And then you've got Outcast Wizard, Much Miragliano, On Foot Demonology, Lord Familiar Power Scroll. Okay, so this is the Demonology caster that's going with the Veteran Cell Swords. Very cool. And then we've got the Outcast Wizard, Repeater Pistol, level 1, Warhorse, Demonology, Wizard Staff, cool. So just a solid level 1 blaster. I like that. I do like that. Okay. So, everything we've got just feels a little bit more useful now. However, I don't like this character on the horse. It's effectively a 265 point character because you also have to buy the totem banner, I think, to get good use out of it. And just like base stat wise, your Crackling Blade's getting you to what? Strength 5 with 4 to 9 attacks. So let's say on average you're getting, well, we'll go slightly above average. You're getting 7 attacks, and you're hitting on going to a unit, hitting on 3s, no rerolls. So that's what, 4.6 hits, and then strength 5 if you're going into anything, we'll say T3. So that, I call it 4 wounds, but AP 1 with Armor Bane. Realistically, it's actually not going to kill that much. It's, I think, probably going to kill less than like an Exalted Champion with a Great Weapon, just as a sort of a bar for what it does. Strength 6 with Knight. He's at strength 6. Okay, cool. Strength 6, that's nice. Although it's the AP that's the big wrinkle for me. Like when I was thinking about it there, I was even going into T3, so the strength 5 didn't matter. I just don't feel like it makes enough of a difference to get there. Would be because the lance is very good, and you were talking about wanting to be able to beat undead. I don't think this list does that, just on the basis of, you know, if you're going up against Graveguard, it's very difficult to beat them. But what if you just went for like a cheap character that did a lot of the same stuff? So a Renegade Captain, literally just lance, Barded Warhorse, and then it needs to be in the Renegade Knights section. Charmed Shield. I don't think there's any items that I'm massively bothered about getting. The Antlers give you... No, it's not Antlers. I was thinking of the... it's the Crusaders locked one, so that doesn't do anything. So if you went here, Renegade Knight, and then you went for the Freeblade Knights with Lance Formation and dropped to 5, so this is an 85-point character that can join 143 points of Freeblade Knights, and that gives you a little lance that you can run around. It's quite a small footprint, it's very maneuverable. You can try and get into flanks more, and it also adds a couple of strength 6 attacks, which is fine. It's not incredible. I've just looked across the chat, and you've said, could you do a Renegade Captain support for the Knights? Great minds think alike. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, like, I feel like this is solid, and on the Barded Warhorse, it does get first charge, doesn't it? Yeah, like, and then if you really need to, you could even split them up. So you could run the Captain alone, just so you've got a second source of first charge, if that was something you really needed. But, like, that feels okay. I don't hate that in terms of what that's bringing. You could also be tempted to go for a bigger lance of knights, but I think that's a lot of points investment if you're doing that. Yeah. So we've got a tanky prince who joins the veteran sellswords. You've got a demonology wizard that joins the sellswords. Between the two, you've got like I do quite like the pearl daggers. I know I was poo-pooing the charmed shield, not charmed shield, the crackling blade, but because you get plus D3 attacks, you've got 5 attacks base, which becomes 6 attacks re-rolling hits. So 6 attacks hitting on 3s re-rolling. That's going to be like, what, 5.5-ish or 5, I don't know, 5 point something on the hits. And then the extra AP from the demonology spell gives you just a little bit of oomph there as well. Like, that I can get behind. That feels pretty okay. I'm looking for a Wildhead list to beat a Sweaty Tomb King list. You have one. I'm sure you can come up with a good Wildhead list on your own. Have you got a specific Tomb King player that you're trying to beat? I can't tell if this is a bit or if this is actual looking for advice. And I've missed the context. But yeah, so I think this is the line I'd go down. I'd also be tempted to try and fit another wizard in. It's a bit very nice. I always appreciate your bits. Apologies that I didn't get this one. I'm playing Scott, am I? Oh, cool. Nice. That'll be cool. I actually don't think I've ever played Scott. Really like him. Really like him. He's a lovely guy. No bombards. 2 bombards. 2 bombards. Yeah. Well, this looks good to me. Let's just fill up the last points then with a lot of points left here. What are we missing? What are we missing? I feel like about 800 points. Like, this is not a hard and fast rule, but I feel like about 800 points for Jesus Christ. I need to have another setup on my green screen. The problem is, I got it sorted for when there was some light coming through windows, and that was perfectly set up. And now that it's pitch black and it's only lights in here, that's where the lighting is different. Got some points to play around with, but a strong foundation. Yeah, okay. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll link it here because you are specifically trying to use some models. This gives you the points. Like, honestly, you could just fit in an extra character if you wanted to. You could fit in, just like increase the number on some models. I think baseline this is good, and you can kind of spend this last 64 points on kind of whatever you want to go with. I don't think it would be an issue to go with whatever you fancy there. Yeah. All right. Cool. Can I link the JSON? Ah, yeah, absolutely. For whatchamacallit, Renegade Crowns, it's a real pain to manually input them. Boom. Okay. Okie dokie. Cool, cool, cool. So let's move on to we've done a 1,000 point list. We've done some Renegade Crowns. Let's go with something a little bit more standard. You're welcome. Let's go with... Tell you what, we've been looking at Empire-ish. Let's have a look at Two Hands Empire list. So, Two Hands says, I want to make a mostly infantry-heavy list, and I really want to bring the classics of Empire infantry, state troops, great swords, and flagellants. Hopefully this will be much improved if the rumours of T4 flagellants and +1 leadership to priest and lector are true. Assume they're not. Like, that's complete bollocks. That sounds like, you know, you can't always tell, but that sounds like wish listing to me. It doesn't sound like a real rumor. Anyway, let's have a look at the list. So you've got a general on a griffin, white cloak, laurels of victory, twice blessed armor. This is a pretty classic loadout. I do like it. Pretty tanky there. Shield and no weapon. You want at least a lance. I know you've only got 3 attacks, but a lance would be something, or even bracer pistols for the extra attack. But yeah, let's go lance. It's pretty cheap. It's relatively cost effective. Got a captain with the Monster Hunters Tapestry, full plate armor, shield, witch hunter sword. Again, let's just upgrade that to a charmed shield. If in doubt, charmed shields it out, as I never say. Double Priest of Sigmar. Like, I see what you're going for. I'm going to leave them in because it's the flavour of the list. Tome of Midnight is odd on a level 2 wizard. I'm not... Like, +1 to cast is cool, but then you've gone Dark Magic. I think this has to be a level 4 wizard if you want to go Tome of Magic. Tome of Midnight. I don't think... Like, plus... You're not going to get a lot done with... just picking up 3 spells. 50% of the games you won't get Battle Lust, which is, I'm assuming, a key part. Maybe it's not, actually. I don't really know why you've gone Dark Magic at all in this list. Like, I'm not seeing the point of Dark Magic here. Like, I could see... Yeah, so you could go, like, Wizard Staff, Tome of Midnight. And then you're a level 2 wizard, or a level 1 wizard, realistically, that is casting with +3 on your magic missile. That feels pretty okay. But I'm not 100% sure what the Dark Magic is for there. Thank you, Matthew. Muchos apreciado. There should be a sound on that. Classic tech issues. Classic tech issues. Or maybe my headset's just turned off because it hasn't had any audio going through it. That's possible as well. Okay, so then we've got... I don't hate the core, but we're going to tweak the numbers. So you want this to be able to hold something. Let's go 14 here, and then these 5. Like, having 5 archers with scout is not bad. I don't hate that. They can be annoying. But then you've gone 1 cannon, 23 greatswords, and 23 flagellants. I just don't think you can run both of them. Right now, as the game stands, like, let me just reread the context given here. I'm trying to make it work. It doesn't say what the level of play is going to be, but you're spending almost 700 points or 650 points on 2 big bricks of infantry that will not score you any points. Because realistically, they're not going to kill much, and they're not going to stand on objectives, and they're going to struggle to get anywhere. So I think if you're doing this, we can't run both of these. Like, even running one is probably too out there, because Empire are a faction that are struggling a little bit, and unless you go null, obviously. But you can probably get away with running 1 unit, which I would recommend being the Greatswords, and then you just give them caster support. So you'd go Wizard Lord, level 4, and let's go Lord Familiar Power Scroll. And this can be like Demonology caster, who will go with the unit, so that they will, get where they need to do with Steed of Shadows, and then also you can give them Demonic Vessel to give them a second attack, so they will have a good chance of doing something. Let's go for I'd like some sort of defensive piece on there as well. Let's go for the Armor of Tarnus. It's not enough to keep you alive against focus attacks, but a 5-up ward save and a 6-up armor save, it's enough to just keep you not dead against the light attacks that are coming your way. So it buys you a little bit of time, so you can keep buffing that unit up. I don't mind the Priest of Sigmar going with them. They have so the ward save is really nice to keep them alive against shooting, and this one is okay as well. No, this one's really nice. Reroll hit run wound rolls of 1. So if the leadership test goes off here, that's cool. The other one, I guess having 1 with the greatswords and 1 with the state troops feels pretty okay. That feels fine. The Empire Knights. I think if you're taking Empire Knights, you really want to make them the mark of something. You just get so much more oomph out of them. I personally like White Wolf, but you can sort of chop and change to whichever one you want to go for. Give them the Wolf Hammers, Drilled Stubborn, also Shields. Yeah, 20 points more. Turns out dwarf women grow long beards. Nice. Never seen anyone use a priest before. I know, I like them in theory. In theory, when I was theory crafting around the new Jade fleet for Cathay, one of the things you can do is put a priest of Ulrich in with some Jade Lancers, and that gives you some nice buffs and also first charge for a pretty cheap package. But I mean, nobody's running that because Cathay can just do better things with their points. So yeah, but I still don't hate the Blaster Caster that's just flying around. Although, for the sake of it, is it better just to go and take the Ruby Ring of Ruin? I feel like this model's being bastardized pretty quickly, but let's change this up. Let's go Wizard Lord, Pegasus, and then Ruby Ring of Ruin, and Wizard Staff. Like, this feels... How many points more? It's a lot of points more. Okay, maybe that's not going to fit in. We could find the points for a Priest of Sigmar. I don't think you need the second one. I think one of the Priests of Sigmar is solid, but then the second one I feel like is not adding as much value. So this gives you a caster that goes with the Nope, hold on. This doesn't need to be level 4, so that can be level 3. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, Demonology caster goes with the unit. Demonology caster that flies around and casts spells. Priest of Sigmar for Priest of Sigmar buffing stuff, which again will give them a Charm Shield as well. Charm Shield up near the top. And yeah, that all feels pretty okay. Then there's the big brick of state troops. I would just upgrade these to veteran state troops. I know you're paying the points for it, but you get so much more for not being veteran, for being veteran. Sorry. So let's go 34 of them. Full command. And do we have... Oh, we haven't got the Griffin Standard. Again, let's just make sure we're putting the Griffin Standard in because it's so effective. I'm not going to pay for drilled on this unit. Okay, so there's 34 of them there. And then... Good. Only a single cannon feels pretty rough. I would like to see a second cannon. This is where we're starting to really hit points issues. Maybe the Blaster Wizard doesn't need to fit in. But I don't really want to drop it. I like the idea. Does the Earthing Rod work with twin-tailed Ron? Twin... Oh, okay. Can you take both? Let's have a quick look at the Arcane. Okay, you can't take both because Twin-tailed Wand is not extremely common, and neither is Earthen... Earthing Rod. But I think it just wouldn't work, unfortunately. So, how do we make these points fit? The Griffin's good. I like the Griffin. The BSB, solid. The Priest, fine. The Demonology Wizard, yep. And then this Wizard here. This Wizard, I think we've spent too many points on. I think we just have to... I think we keep it cheap. We go even cheaper than what you had. So, level 1, Pegasus, Demonology, and... Wizard Staff. Like, maybe that's just the way to go. In fact, no. Let's just dry cast the summoning and spend 15 points more and get a Ruby Ring of Ruin. I think that's the cheapest, most effective mage that we can stick in. Like, 125 points of that feels pretty okay. I'm not upset at that. Do we have to drop the Armor of Tarnus to fit things in? On your life, so maybe we just sack the points off there. And then we need to make some cuts. So this unit's probably going down to... Got Witch Hunter's Ward there. This one could do with Witch Hunter's Ward as well. So let's drop this to, let's say, 30. And then drop this to 18. Oh, man. I think... Do we not bother with Drilled? Maybe we just don't bother with Drilled. I know Drilled's very good with Demonology, but if you're already marching 24 inches, that might just be the way to get around that without dropping too many models. Because you can still go 20 there. All right, 2 hands. I think this is about the best I can do with the theme. I'm sorry for cutting out so many of the things that you were trying to fit in, but... And unless we see very major changes to how the game runs, which is, I'd love to see it, and maybe this will happen, I don't know. Like I say, I haven't seen anything for this FAQ. If we see scoring change to all infantry can score, suddenly your list has a lot more wiggle room. But, yeah, I miss that, Amy. Ruby Ring, so boring, go the other way, Triple Priest. I don't think I could in good conscience recommend that instead of Ruby Ring. That feels like a poor choice. Okay. So we've done some human stuff. Humans and elves. I think we need to see something a little bit evil. I think that's the way to go. Let's have a look at Ross's list. Ross's Wild Herd list. So Ross says, with the Tale of Many Gamers, I'm working towards a Wild Herd list. This is my first draft. I do want to run the Primal War Herd as a big block, as I love the look of it from the 6th edition Beasts of Chaos Army book. I'm happy to deal with Impetuousness. That's fair play. It's a slightly less efficient choice, but it means you don't have to go with 2 bricks. So there is some value there. Okay. Tunes of 9 Harpies is interesting. Let's have a look. Okay. First of all, you've gone for the Bray Shaman, but this feels pretty solid. I do like this as a build. For anyone who hasn't seen it, basically, Great Bray Shamans have Weapon Skill 5 to start off with. Only 2 attacks, but that's fine, because the Black Maul gives you more attacks. And you're pretty tough. You're T5 with 3 wounds. You also get the Full Plate Chaos Armor for 4 up save and a 5 up ward, and then you combo it with Slug Skin and Gnarled Hide to be a 3 up armor save, and also -1 to be hit. So you're pretty hard to get rid of, and it just lets you bring yet another Vile Tide caster if you want to go down that line. I like Demonology for more, just opportunity to get the summoning / Steed of Shadows. Not summoning, Steed of Shadows / Demonic Vessel, in case you don't get it off with your level 2 wizard. Oh, you haven't got a level 2 wizard. Okay, we'll fix that. Anyway, then we've got a level 4 Primal Magic Hagtree Fetish Flying Carpet caster. I really like this caster. A couple of little bits of tech you can do. Uncanny Senses. Ooh, we are going real cheap, though. Okay. We're capped on points. Uncanny Senses is nice because it gets you to initiative 5. And when a unit is going to overrun into you, you can take an initiative test. It's called Evade, and then you get to make a normal move. You're on a flying carpet, so your normal move is 8 inches. You just don't get to go closer to any enemy models. But with 8 inches fly, you can probably get out of trouble. I also like a ward save or a power scroll, or both on this character, but that is hard to achieve with how cheap we're going. Okay, so then we've gone Jagged Dagger. Okay, we're going to make these all Primal Magic. I don't think you ever really want to roll in Dark Magic. Whereas with Primal Magic, you can just swap into the Terrain spell if you're really worried about Fanatics or something like that. You just need Terrain so that you don't immediately die. This is a good spell to have as a backup, and you can always swap into it. Okay, the BSB that's going with the unit. Banner of Swirling Wind for -1 to be shot. There isn't another one here. No, it's just the power. Spell Tracks, Charm Shield. I mean, it does what it says on the tin. Helps you survive shooting, which is pretty important at the moment. Pretty darned important. And then we've got Jagged Dagger, Tome of Spellcraft. What the hell does the Tome of Spellcraft do? Is this the reroll one? Ah, yes, reroll the casting roll. I mean, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. You haven't got a Demonology caster, though. I think it is vitally, vitally important you have a Demonology caster. Which has to be like a level 2 Demonology and Lore Familiar. Now, that puts you at 29 points over. I don't know how we get there. Maybe the Wargore, maybe you just have to lose the Magic Resist. Magic Resist is very, very good, and it's very good on a big brick, but you have to have the Demonology caster. That's kind of non-negotiable. So I think maybe the way we do this is we drop the Magic Resist. I think with how many models there are in that unit, I would drop the Magic Resist before I would drop the negatives to hit. I think the -1 to be hit is nicer. Especially because... Oh no, it's a Primal Warherd. Because if you were in a Gore unit, you could choose to go into Skirmish, but... Yeah, okay. Scourge the Burdened, great. This gives reserve move as a bound spell. Monster Hunter Tapestry for ignoring stomps. I'm not actually sold that this is necessary, but I don't think it's bad. It's 28 here, not that you pay points for it, and then you've got 13. I see you've played around with the numbers on this unit. Cool. 10 Ungor with 3 ambushes and a half horn. Okay. 10 Gore doing the same thing. Res Gore, Gore. Okay. I don't think you've got a great unit to hold the Herdstone. Like, a Chariot here would be maybe my choice. That might be the way to do things. I like what you've got in here, but I'd also like to see something that just wants to sit near the Herdstone, but also has some flex utility. If you put in a Tuskar Chariot, here we go. Tuskar Chariot, unit strength 5, but also comes with first charge. So it's basically useful in every matchup, which is really nice. I think we find the points to put 1 Tuskar Chariot in here, so you've got something to hold the objective with. I do like this unit of Gore, the 16. It could be downgraded to Ungor, though. So this is, I'm assuming, what you're planning to bunker some of the wizards in. Because you haven't given ambush to these Bray Shamans, so they can't start off the board. One of them has ambush. Only one of them. You want to keep your wizards together. You really want to keep the wizards together. Because that's how you benefit from the pluses to cast. But you haven't got enough points to give the second one. I think you just don't have points for the Tome of Spellcraft. I think that has to go. It's nice, but I think we take that off and we just put the Magic Resist back on this chappy. That feels just a little bit better. Okay. Cool, 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 cool. This unit of Primal Warhead probably drops a few models. That's how we're gonna find some points. And how many points are we over? 64 points over. I don't think you need to go 2 units of 9. Like, let's say 2 units of 7. I don't hate the Harpies. They give some screening for the High Free Fascist character, and they can also go into the back line. But I think 2 units of 9 is a lot of points to commit. 2 units of 7 is still quite a lot, but it's about 150. It's, you know, it's about what I'm willing to write off, although I do like that they have some utility there. So if we go 23 and 12, which still leaves us 35 models, so that's not bad. That is a pretty tanky unit, 35 models plus characters, and you're going to put 3 characters in there, so it's 38. It's still pretty beefy. Still pretty beefy. Okay, this version I think looks pretty okay, so let's put that one in the chat for Ross, and I hope that is helpful, Ross. There's a lot of different ways you can go with Wild Herd. I think they're a very, very good way to play the game at the moment. Okay. Okie dokie. What else have we got? We've gone for something chaosy. Let's go with something even more evil. We're going to go for Evil Wabbit's Cathay list. Now, this is for a narrative escalation league, which I think is a good place to play Cathay. And I'm assuming a lot of things are going to have to change post-FAQ, but there's no harm in making a start if you have to. So, what was the context for Evil Wabbit? Co-running a narrative escalation campaign, starting at 500 points and escalating to 2,500 over the course of months. You're the only person running Cathay, and you wanted to show off some of the powerful and potentially broken items. Oh dear. So I have 500, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, and 2,500.
Love the videos. Any tips on a Grand Army Warriors of Chaos list that's using Blue Fire and a Warp Fire Dragon?
Thanks, Phil. I appreciate that. Warriors of Chaos that's using Blue Fire and a Warp Fire Dragon. I think if I was going to go down the line of trying to cast Blue Fire a lot, I would move towards a Warriors of Chaos brick, because you can't have Mark of Tzeentch on Marauder Horseman anymore. So just the Warp Fire Dragon in general is good, but maybe you want to go like a dragon, like an Exalted Champion with triple save dragon, a Warp Fire Dragon, and then you go a Sorcerer Lord and a regular Sorcerer, like a level 3 and a level 1. Keep them cheap. Or maybe you go like level 5 or level 4 with the Spell Familiar, actually, on the Sorcerer Lord, and you go Battle Magic there, and you try and roll into a spell, and then the level 1 could go Elementalism or Battle Magic as well, and you just dry roll and hope you get hit the Magic Missile, and then you swap into Blue Fire. That would probably be the way that I would do that. So you still want to make the list as functional as possible, but you go with like a decent sized brick of Chaos Warriors. I'd actually probably want a I'd probably want a BSB in there as well, because if you're going Mark of Tzeentch, you're losing the reliability of the Mark of Chaos Undivided, and you've got a poor leadership for Warriors of Chaos. So I'd be really worried about just running away a lot. Maybe you have to drop the dragon. Maybe you just go, here is my Death Star. It has a BSB, lots of wizards, Skull of Catan, all Mark of Tzeentch, and just dry roll Battle Magic as much as possible, and try and get Fireballs, Arcane Urgency, Oaken Shield, and just bring the pain that way. I think it'd be interesting to play. There are a lot of things that shut it down, but there are some things in the meta that actually go, wait, hold on, I'm not keen on that. If you're doing that list, I think you probably go 2 Sorcerer Lords, 1 Battle Magic and 1 Elementalism. Yeah, because the Elementalism one for Plague of Rust and the TMP will be very good. So the Elementalism caster should be a level 4 with the +1 spell, and then you go like a Battle Magic level 3, and then like 2 level 2s or something like that. If you take an Undivided Wizard, can he go in Tzeentch, and would you let the unit reroll Panic? You can only benefit from 1 mark at a time, so I don't think you'd be able to reroll the Panic. But he can join them. Undivided can join marked. But I would just go like find some points for an aspiring champion. It's like 95 points, 100 points by the time you give them a, great weapon, or 99 points by the time you give them a great weapon. Can take the item to take Mark signatures then. Yeah, you're going Marcus Inch, not only for the spell, but you're also going it for the +1 to cast. I think the +1 to cast is almost more valuable in the post 1.5 casting landscape. Okay, so thank you again, Phil. I appreciate that. Let me go back to this Cathay list. So you've gone, wow. Okay, so you're kind of just doing everything here. So you're going to add 500 points at a time. I mean, just as it stands, you can always make tweaks. I think the Magistrate, I would tweak here. I'd love to see Alchemist Mask instead of Morshard. I know Morshard's very good, but just in terms of the shooting you bring, Alchemist Masks is really solid. What ward save we got there? Talisman Protection, that's fine. And it's... if you're going for limited numbers of balloons, you definitely want to be as tanky as possible. This model is going to get nerfed in like 2 or 3 weeks' time. But currently, this is probably what I would build. Something along these lines. And then I'd also pay for the Dragonfire Bombs on the Magistrate. The Shigangan Lord. Monkey King's Wisdom, Spirit Lantern... I would go level 4. I know you're level 4 here, but it specifically says that doesn't count in the match play guide, unless I'm misremembering. Spirit Lantern, I would not go Spirit Lantern. That's the rerolls. Terra plus rerolls. Yeah, this is good. I like it, but you want to be able to cast your spell, so I just go Learn Feng Shui Bo to give you a 5th spell, and Scrolls of Wei Jin for a 6th spell. I actually still haven't got a full opinion on whether that works or not, but that's how I'd do it, and just get your 6 spells and don't have to risk anything. You also need the heavy armor here, like so. Then we've got warriors, lancers. Okay, so Spirit Lantern, this is fine. I don't hate this, but I think it's a lot of points to not realistically get where you want them to. And then you've got the lancers here with a Ring of Jet, Jade Banner. Remember what the Jade Banner does. Okay, this is a very confused unit. This unit is going to come on from ambush, it's going to shoot, and then it's going to also be better in combat. So we don't want to do all of those things. I think what we want to do is go 6 models, Ring of Jet, and then give them stubborn ambushes. And I probably, Celestian Dragon Guard is fine. Like, paying a point per model for the ward save, I don't hate it. It's not too shabby. Oh, we'll give them drilled as well. So we're just literally giving them all of the upgrades here. And then we're going to go Jade Warriors. So I think you want to go for one unit that is pretty beefy. So this is where the Jade Banner probably works quite well. And then you go for a second unit, which can go... let's give them the Turn Off Fly Banner. Icon of Heavenly Fury. Yeah, that's a good one. That is a good one. Neither of these needs to have drilled. I do like stubborn. I probably want both of these units to have stubborn, frankly, if they're... Yeah, there we go. Do I care? This should be... I'm going to go 16. Do I care that they have Spirit Lantern? Honestly, no. Terra on a unit strength 1 model is very conditionally useful, and that's fine. But it's not, I think, worth the 50 points for both units. Because how often are you going to be charging with your move 4 infantry? Yes, they can become move 5 through the winds. The point isn't the move 4 or 5, it's that they're infantry. So this is good. We are going to have to shave some points somewhere. Sky Lantern, yeah. Okay, so we're 50 points over. So I might just have to go down to 16. And then we need 1 more point in here to get there. What are we missing? Both of them have... There's no standard bearer in this unit. I don't think it needs a standard bearer, but paying the extra points for the standard there is not the end of the world. And then we're 17 points over. Okay. There's not really anything I want to cut here. Oh, gunpowder bombs. I don't think the gunpowder bombs are necessarily worthwhile. You're going to win the combat into light units that charge you anyway, so I think you just don't get too pressed about it. And then we've got 7 points here. Is there anyone who wants a 5-point magic item? I don't think there are any 5-point magic items though. Oh, Burning Blade. Burning Blade is worth on the Magistrate, because then it's harder for you to get caught by Ethereal. Okay. That would probably be how I'd tweak that one, Evil Wabbit. But be warned, this list will not be good by the end of the 5 months. In fact, for month 2, it'll probably not be good as well. It'll need tweaking. Good to see that the stream has picked up again. I did say before, I was a little worried in the run-up to Christmas when I was looking at the viewing numbers and be like, that is lower than normal. I wonder if I've felled it off. But yeah, if you're here and you haven't already, please do give the stream a thumbs up. Helps be picked up by the algorithm. I need to make a button on my Steam Deck that I don't really use for like an echoey booming voice. What are you expecting to see cut points then? It's really hard to say. So coming from 40k, when they do points changes, they do big points changes, so they balance. They do the stuff that's too good gets nerfed, and the stuff that is not good enough gets buffed. And the stuff that gets buffed often ends up being a little bit of a problem. So like, let's say for Space Marines, if there's 100 units, and Space Marines are good at the moment, 10 units get nerfed, and then like 15 units get buffed, and 8 of those remain unplayable, 5 of them become just like playable, and 2 of them become OP. And that's kind of how they've done it in 40k. This is a different team, I'm not expecting it. But I would like to see that sort of style. Not that I want things to become OP, it's just a symptom of when you nerf and buff stuff, things change, and it's very difficult to predict how things are going to be across the board. I would like to see for Cathay, balloons need to be nerfed by more than points. They fundamentally are a broken unit, and people are going to be sick of me talking about this, but you can't interact with them if you're not a shooting army. So something about them needs to change. They need to be heavily gutted in terms of how people can't interact with you. They also bring a lot of shooting and a lot of tankiness for the point. So I think they not only need to be nerfed in some ways in terms of how you interact with them, but they need to be nerfed in the points department as well. Then the cannons also could do with being nerfed in some way because they're very unpleasant to play against. I think the double shoot probably should go away. Anytime you can just like front load Alpha Strike, it's very unpleasant to play against. So this is not even from a balance perspective. This is just from a game enjoyment perspective for the health of the game. I think they should remove the double shoot on Cathay cannons. Give them something else that's, decent as well. That's fine. They're expensive cannons, 165 points, but again, they're fundamentally broken, game breaking in the way that they interact, and I think very unfun as well. So I'd like to see those nerfed. I don't really think much else needs to be nerfed. I think a lot of the stuff that Cathay has... Jade Ring should stop being extremely common. That doesn't make sense. They nerfed the Ruby Ring. I know stuff goes to print before, 6 months ahead of time or whatever, but the fact that they nerfed the Ruby Ring of Ruin and then gave the Jade Fleet, or the Ring of Jet, extremely common, doesn't make any sense to me. So that needs to be fixed as well. But I think those 3 issues, if they're fixed, Cathay become a lot more manageable. Like, Jade Warriors are decent. They're not OP. Jade Lancers are actually kind of underwhelming. They have some interesting angles, but they don't do a lot of damage. I think the Shigangan Lord is very strong, the Spectral Doppelganger one specifically. But it's very honest. Like, it's quite squishy. It's pretty cheap. Not pretty cheap. It's a pretty pricey for how many wounds it has. It's, at the end of the day, it's a T5 model with 3-up save and a 5-up ward save. So when you've loaded 100 points of magic items on there to be good at Spectral Doppelganger, yes, you kill what you touch, but you also are very vulnerable to incoming damage as well. Shigangan should probably go up 30 points. I would say let's hold off on that one, just because I don't want to hit Cathay with the patented quadruple nerf and then they become just unplayable. I think, yes, they probably should be nerfed, but I'd rather they did one wave of nerfs and then come back in 6 months' time if, we still see Cathay dominating the meta because they're just going, here's 3 or 4 Shigengans. And frankly, that would be not too bad to play against because Shigengans are something you can interact with and a lot of player skill comes in. When people were talking about dragons at the start of the edition, yes, they were too strong, but they weren't too strong in a way that is unmanageable. And when I was writing lists, when I've been writing lists for the last few months, I go, okay, I have to have a plan to beat Cathay. When I was writing lists in like pre 1.5, even before I was playing dragons, I was looking at it and going, okay, how do I deny enough points into the dragons? Like, I've got to kill everything else and then just avoid the dragons, and that's a legitimate game plan, which you can do into Shigengans because they have a 90-degree charge arc. They're avoidable. So, yeah, I think if Shigengans are OP and the rest of the army is balanced, I can live with that. I can live with that for Cathay. And frankly, it would be kind of cool for Cathay to still be like an A-tier army, but without the very oppressive anti-shooting or like shooting meta that we've got at the moment. Like Ragnarok getting anti-monster, 500-point cap, worst magic and poison all at the same time. Oh, you're talking about square-based. Cool. Okay, so that was truly one of the evil lists. Just seen your second message, Plucky, also coming from 40k. Yeah, the churn in 40k it's a lot. It's a full-time job to stay up with it competitively, and I was playing competitively in 9th, and then I started at the start of 10th, and I'm still making content with 6++, and we'd record weekly videos about here's how, like, what you need to know about this detachment, and sort of by the time that I stopped doing them, I was really struggling with just understanding the full scale of the meta, which is one of the reasons I stopped making videos on it, because it was really difficult to know enough when I was only playing 40k like once a week and keeping up-ish as opposed to fully keeping up. Oh, the quad nerf, I see, yeah. Okay, cool. Let's move on because we're already at 20 past 9 and I have only done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lists. Oh, there's 10 to do. Okay, there's 10 to do. So I need to go a little bit faster on these because I like these streams to last about 2.5 hours, which means that I have about an hour 10 to get through the 10 lists. You get angry when you play 40k. Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. Do you get to many tournaments, Plucky? They are... I love the difference. I miss the 40k tournaments a little bit, in that I liked going and seeing the same people, and I would get typically 3 to 4 very high quality games, I would find, where by the time like the end of 9th edition or the start of 10th edition came around, the mid tables for 40k were actually very competitive. So the gap between playing against the best players in the world and the sort of middling tables was still noticeable, but you could still get a good game out of the middle tables. Yeah, in Old World, it's definitely more of a burgeoning game, and I think the vibe is better, I will say. You're at WITOW at BMC Borough next Sat. Oh, that's a lot of acronyms. Hold on, let me guess. War in the Old World at BMC Borough. I don't know where BMC is. War in the Old World. It would be 10th Jan. Yeah, it's not coming up. Badminton Cafe. Yeah. I need to get down to Badminton Cafe, but just travelling to London is a pain in the backside. Connor, you like 40k, but it's a bit of a dumpster fire at the moment. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the joy. That kind of works in 40k, though, because the cycle of balance is like every 3 months, there's new stuff that's broken, so it feels fresh. And it doesn't feel too bad. Like if they really over the egg the pudding, they fix it pretty quickly. And like worst case scenario, something's OP for 3 months, like really OP for 3 months, and you're like, oh, well, I guess I won't see any more Eldar players for another 12 months now. And then there's a big change and it's fixed. How dare you call me out so accurately? No worries, Bucky. No worries. Not a problem. I have, so I recognize your thumbnail because I've seen your channel. I haven't watched anything. You're on a list of channels that I want to get round to watching. I'm envious of your thumbnails. I think you do a really good job of those. It's something that I want to try and find more of a groove with in 2026. I want to make more of an effort with just the presentation of things. But yeah, at some point this year, I'm going to get round to watching at least one of your videos. At some point, I am aware of who you are. All right, I am going to get on track now. Also, you know, theoretically, if you wanted to do something, shoot me a message. I'm always happy to cross promote. You're making must be beginner stuff. Amazing. That's great content to have. It's really important. Far more important than what I'm doing. Get more people into the hobby. That's the goal. Okay. And Jacob says Bobbin's ogres are hungry. Sweet. Yeah, just shoot me a message on Discord when you get a chance. No rush. I'm pretty busy in January, so there really is no rush at all. Okay. What did he say? Bobbins. How far up was it? Or is it deleted? Yeah. All right. We'll go with the ogres. So, Bobbin the Boppin. This is an ogre list. Was there any context to this? See Discord. I still feel like there might be a better way of me putting notes in, but Old World Builder, it's great that you can have notes there, but it's just not built for specifically me, where people submit lists. Maybe I should shoot the guy a message and be like, hey, any chance that you could add like a clicky box that you could add more information into? That would be really cool for me specifically and no one else. Okay. So after the fix in the Ogre Merc company you made a month ago, I had a thought about it and what you said. Wanted to have a Thunder Tusk in the army because they're amazing in Total War, but didn't know that they were subpar on the table at best. Okay, yeah, that's super fair. Like, theme is fun. If you're not trying to win tournaments, you can kind of just do what you want. Like, building to theme is fun. Back to the drawing board. Stonehorns are stronger than Thunder Tusks. Can I have the fun to ride it since it goes with the character point limit? Okay, cool. Let's have a look here. So we've got a Tyrant, which is... Okay, so you have got a Hunter on a Thunder Tusk. I need to remind myself Fistful of Laurels. There are two items. I get them confused with Demon Slayer Stars. It's Demon Slayer Scars. Okay, yeah, so it's the break test one. I do like that as an option. Death Cheater is just 10 out of 10. Big fan of that. And then Thunder Tusk. I think Thunder Tusks are still fine, right? So T6, was that 8 wounds? Impact hits and stomp attacks. It's a behemoth. It's got first charge. That's something I haven't really thought about. And then it's got numbing chill. I feel like numbing chill is -1 to weapon skill. Yeah, that's actually not bad. You know what? For 310 points, I can kind of get behind this. Weapon skill 5 with -1 weapon skill of units that you're attacking is really nice as well. Because that is... you're going to be hitting a lot of stuff on 2s. I feel like the Thunder Tusk is weapon skill 3. Yeah, okay, so you're going to be hitting most things on 4s, but you're going to hit some things on 3s. Okay. How many wounds do you start off with? Is it 4? Yeah, T6. 310 points. That kind of slaps. Maybe there's a world where you go triple Thunder Tusk, just because of how cheap it is. Oh, wait, there's no ward save. Okay, no. We need a ward save. Well, let's come back to this. What do we got? So, you know what? We're just going to drop the Butcher's Cauldron for the reasons previously stated. I know you were talking about having it, but I think if we want the regen, we're just going to put the banner, the Cannibal Totem, into a bigger unit. Like, having it on a unit of 3 probably just isn't super efficient. So let's get rid of it here. So level 4 with Lord Familiar Meteor Hammer. Okay, we can go to level 3. We don't need to go level 4. Which also frees up points for a Power Scroll. So then you're actively getting off the Illusion Cast. I really like the. Is it Kinita or is it Giant Breaker? Giant Breaker. I really like Giant Breaker. Getting +1 to strength is really nice. You can't refuse a challenge, that's fine, but you weren't ever going to refuse anyway. You just accept with someone else who's in the unit. This gets you to strength 5. Oh no, you've got a Meteor Hammer, so we don't need that. Brain. Yeah, Meteor. I do like Meteor Hammer for Spectral Doppelganger. Okay, cool. So we could go back to the Butcher's Cauldron. I don't really want to. I just feel like it's such an inefficient choice. And it does also mean you have to go on the edge of the unit as well, because you don't fit inside it, which means it's so much easier to kill you because you're 50 by 100 mil instead of 40 by 40. I think the Butcher's Cauldron has too much going against it. I wouldn't feel comfortable putting that in the list the more I think about it. Tenderizer, Talisman of Protection, Kinita. This is just a great loadout for the Tyrant. Yeah, no notes. I'm just going to show, because people don't know enough about Ogres. Tenderizer. For anyone who doesn't know, it is an extra attacks +1, multiple wounds D3, strength +2, AP -3 weapon. Oh no, it has strikes last. I don't care. I'm a Tyrant. So I'm T5 and 5 wounds baseline. What's killing me in 1 round of combat? A dragon probably doesn't kill me in 1 round of combat with a 5 ward save. So before the stomps anyway. Yeah. This is yeah. I'm more on board with Ogre Pistols, like a pistol, than I would be. I think Renegade Crowns has really opened my eyes to the value of having a pistol just for a bit more combat res. You're never shooting it apart from when you're standing and shooting, but that's absolutely fine. Okay. Iron Blaster. I'd like to see 2 Iron Blasters. I think these things are much better in pairs, but Ogres are very expensive, so it's difficult to fit everything that you want in. Speaking of expensive, this is a very pricey unit. We've got Stubborn and Vanguard with heavy armor, Race of Ogre Pistols. Okay, so you don't actually have to go quite as deep on this. You can go 1 heavy armor with an Iron Fist. Hold on. No, I think you have to go 2. And then 1 Iron Fist, like so. So this way you go 1 with Iron Fist and heavy armor, and that's a 4-up save. So the entire unit gets a 4-up save because it's Motley Crew. Then you've got 1 with just heavy armor, so it's a 5-up save. And then you've got 1 with the light armor, and that's a 6-up save. So you take the best of the bunch there. So you only need to pay for 2 heavy armors, and that opens you up to taking a 2nd great weapon, which is still 3 points cheaper here. They just get a little bit more oomph. It is very pricey, but I mean, Man-Eaters are cool. I think this is a non-optimal unit that I'm pretty keen to see, because just being able to Vanguard and get up the board, and yeah, it feels solid. Saber-Tusks. I don't think I'd run them as a unit of 4. I think units of 2, like 2 units of 2 feels pretty okay, but I wouldn't run them as a unit of 4 if you can't attach a hunter to them. I think that feels probably not quite right. Then we've got the Bulls with the Bull Standard and the Iron Fist. These are fine. I'd probably just change the numbers. So going 4 here, and then bulking up the Iron Guts to 6 for the character support. Like, this immediately just feels like you're getting a lot more out of it. I'd also give them Veteran, which means that we're going to have to find some points to cut here. Saber-Tusk joined with Hunter on Thunder Tusk. I'm pretty certain you can't do that. Running with the pack. Yeah, I can't. I don't know where I'd find the exact rule, but monsters can't join units, so you won't be able to attach. You can. Are you sure? I'm certain you can't. Joining units. What's it under characters? Leaving a unit, characters and units. Yeah, or that troop type. So maybe it's a troop type. Troop type. How do we see? Oh. Troop type tables. Here we go. You can't running with the pack is just a rule that gives you a bonus for joining. Yeah. I don't know where I'd find the rule. This is one that like I've never even had to look up because it's just obviously monsters can't join. Okay, for the sake of... Ooh, is it clumsy? No, it's not clumsy. Cavalry, light cavalry. I'm almost there. Like, I may as well look at monsters. There's so many better ways of doing this. Is it lumbering? There we go. Lumbering models cannot join units or be joined by a character. And lumbering is part of the behemoth rule. He told me that getting there as I did as well. Appreciate. Cool. All right, sweet. I knew there was a reason that it didn't work. As the light has got even darker, the green screen has got even worse. I need to look at fixing this in an evening instead of during the day. Okay. Cool. So, yeah, let's just drop to 1 unit of Saber Tusks, and that will free up some points, and then we can just go a few more Trappers. Something like this. Wait, Trappers? Not the ones I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of Fighters. Like a big unit of Fighters and then a medium unit of Trappers feels pretty okay. So if you went like 14 and then 20 Noblars here, and then we just have to shave a couple of points. Is there anything that we want to shave? We probably don't need a musician. Then we're 6 points over. What would we shave for 6 points? I think the Ogre Pistol. Yeah, there we go. This feels pretty okay. I think, like, so we're still building around what you've gone with. I would still just go, like, the Gut Star and minimum Bulls, probably more Fighters, and then go double Iron Blaster and drop the Man-Eaters. But I like the Thunder Tusk that you've gone with. I think there's something, like, genuinely there. Maybe I need to have another look at Ogres. Maybe there's something that I can do with them that makes them just a little bit more interesting. Regardless, there's better not to do it, because if you fail the panic test after losing 3 tusks, you're in double ones to rally, right? Well, 2 units of sabers is top tier chaff. Yeah, that's very fair. You could go with 3, and then you'd avoid that issue, because then you'd have to lose 3 to be at 25%, and at that point you're just a single model anyway. But yeah, something like that. Cool. So that was ogres. Okay. Why can't I find it? Why am I blind? Oh, I moved it to the top already. Cool. Okie dokie. Let's have a look at... we're going to look at a Sorcerer Chariot list in a second, but let's look at Michael S.'s Battle March High Elves. Trying out a Battle March list, dusting off my old 4th/5th edition High Elf minis. I would like to put a character into a small unit, Sword Master unit, not married to the other units. So, I like this. This unit struggles to score, is the main problem you've got. However, we can just very quickly change that up here by going Spearman instead of the Sea Guard. So if we go to like 14, and if we just go full command, and then do we want to go Shield Wall? Probably not. We'll just keep it cheap here. Something like this, and then Sword Masters and Silver Helms. I think we shave the points by going like 9 Swordmasters here, so you can still go 2 ranks of 5 with the mage in there. But I quite like what you've gone with. What I would say, actually, is if we're going for a Safari character, a level 1 mage with Sword of Hoeth and Armor of Meteoric Eye is 110 points. How many points is it for a noble to do the same thing, but with the Lawmaster? Because then you've just got a better character. Because you go for a level 1 wizard here. I think this is the same thing, but just Gooderer. And then you also don't need to go for Meteoric Iron. because you can just go for the full plate. Obviously, Meteoric Iron's better, but we can just shave a couple of points here. Like that. I think I like that more. It does the same thing, but you're just a bit better in combat, and you're equally as good at casting as the mages. So yeah, I think that would be how I'd go for with the Lore Master, and that does let you join the Sword Masters, doesn't it? Where's the White Tower? Yes, yeah, it still lets you join them. So like that's probably the only change I'd make. Like, you know, change these into Spearmen instead of the regular Sea Guard because they're cheaper, so you can get more of them. The Noble, the Silverhounds are good. The Sword Masters are fine. I think at 500 points they're gonna do a good amount of output. Yeah, looks solid. Jacket, you are welcome. Stonehorn is greater than Thundertusk, but both are great. Fair. You know, I'll have to have a look at them properly and sit down and try and work out what I need. Remember, scoring needs 5 unit strength in Battle March. I did not even know that. Thank you, Matthew. That has somehow evaded my attention. That's pretty big. At that point, you know what? We can go back to the Sea Guard. I feel like this is where they have some play in that they are low cost. Not low cost. They are they've got the ability to be a melee tanky unit while still having some shooting. So like low points is probably where they get the most value. Yeah. Tistic says, I think you can't take a magic armor with Warden of Safri anyway. Good evening, by the way. Good evening. How are you doing on this fine Friday, Tistic? Yeah, like that was an easy one because I think you just did a good job with this list, Michael. So let's whack it in. Boom. Yeah, I think just changing up to the Noble makes a lot of sense. Oh bugger, hold on. I've done a sin. Gotta change it to a Charm Shield. I gotta practice what I preach. And then let me just edit this one before anyone even notices. Boom, there we go. No one will ever know, apart from the tag on Discord that says you have edited this. Fan Dabby Dozy. Okay, so that was good. I wanted that as a quick palette cleanser. I did like that list when I had a quick look at it. Let's go with K's list. Open bracket, K, close bracket. Is it ideal to have a shield when you're wielding a two-handed sword? No, but just, you know, for the sake of 5 points for if you need to tank something, say you go into combat with someone scary, it's not too shabby. And then it also gives you a bit more agency if you want to just jump out the unit and run around solo with your 360-degree line of sight, which normally you wouldn't do with an infantry character, but at lower points levels is a little bit more doable. All right. So we've got Chaos Lord on Chariot. We've got a Sorcerer Lord on Chariot. I love Sorcerers on Chariot. I wish you could put them on a Chosen Chariot. That would be amazing. I'm very salty you can't. Okay. Cool. I really am not a fan of the Shartax. I think you either go for a unit of 3 or you don't bother in 1.5. They just don't feel like they add much of anything. Yes, they're drops, which is fine, but you've got the best units for drops already. So for the price of 2 of them, I'm just going to say go for 2 units of Vanguard Chaos Warhounds. Put them in marching column, Vanguard them forwards, use their 21-inch move and the fact that you only have a wheel from the front of the model, and use them for unit blocking and cheap drops. Hey! Good to see you, K. I don't know, open brackets, K, close brackets works quite well. But, okay, what do we got? So double spawn. Let's just... I'm approaching this for making it as competitive as possible. If that's not the case, do feel free to tell me. In fact, I've just skipped all of the context because you did write some context in here. Let me just scroll up in Discord. Oh god, I've got to scroll so far. Suffering from success. Okay. Intended to be a full send, hitting reserve move on both transports. Okay, so you hitting reserve move on both transports with the Sorcerer on Chariot to make them contact turn 2. So you can reserve move on run movers, but they can't get into combat with it, since they can only get into combat with the move in the compulsory phase. I believe that's correct, yeah. You definitely can't get into contact in the remaining moves, but I don't think there's anything stopping them from moving. I'd have to double check the rules, but I think that's fine. Okay. We're just going to go Nurgle on both of them, because that means that they actually get there, as opposed to not getting there. Comes with countercharge, which is cool, but it's not actually going to go in competitive for sure. Sweet. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Okay, so double Nurgle spawn, just a solid build. You said you're going reserve move. Oh, Shadowlands. I actually don't remember what the Shadowlands lore has. Is it an aura? Shadowlands. Aura of the Shadowlands. Crawling Mists. Oh, yeah, it is reserve move. Single friendly unit, multiple friendly unit. Okay. That's fair. That's pretty cool. That is pretty neat. So, we're going Lore Familiar Power Scroll, Favor of the Gods, Shadowlands, Chariot. Yeah, this just looks solid. I think I like what you're doing. Let's give it a little bit more oomph. Well, he's got a 3-up save already. Maybe, I guess it doesn't need the Meteoric Iron. Give it a regen. Does it need a regen? I don't think it does. What's the signature spell? Magic Missile, Blast Template, Scatters. Okay. Is what it is. Sure, we'll come back to that. And then we've got the Chaos Lord, which is Flail, Full Plate, Chaos Dragon, 2 Favors of the Gods. Okay. So, I'd go Great Weapon over Flail. The Flail is fine. First round of combat only, but Great Weapon, like, you're on a dragon, you don't really care about striking first. You've got 10 wounds and T6, so you're okay there. Then we've got... Can't fit anything else on. Yeah, double Favor of the Gods. Have we got a shield as well? We have got a shield as well. Cool. Yeah, this feels fine, but I think Great Weapon is definitely worth going for over the Flail. Back pre 1.5, I won a good amount of combats with Chaos Lords because I had a Great Weapon and they had a Flail. Even though I was an elf and they were a 5 attack beat stick. Okay, so that's good there. Then this is good. So let's just have a quick look at the core. You've gone double Dark Hearts. Dark Hearts is the minus leadership one, right? Yeah, I do like Dark Hearts. I was talking about that earlier today, actually. Mark of Corn. Mark of Corn. I am not a fan of Frenzy in general. Not a fan of Frenzy in general. But I think specifically the 4 model Chaos Knight units, which are very cheap, definitely don't give them standard bearers because they're going to just be giving up an extra 50 points. But like this unit that has 9 attacks on quite a small frontage, this feels pretty okay. I don't hate that. I don't know that it's the most competitive choice, but I think it's fine. If it plays to the way that you like to play, I think it'll do pretty well. These Marauders, we don't need a Charm Shield on the unit champion, but I would be open to Brazen Collar for the magic resist. And then instead of Prophetic Foresight, which is the magic resist, no, it's the anti-scout, Unnatural Fortitude. If you're going for a unit that is going to hold your objectives, making them T4 makes a lot of sense here. And with the light armor shields, getting to a 3-up save, a 4-up save in combat is nice. Carrying Crow I can take or leave. I think it probably isn't worthwhile, but I want to play around with it, honestly. It feels just fun to be able to hit the I'm T5 button. Deal with me. Not sure about Core Knights, but I wanted every one of my units beside the Marauders to get into combat turn 2. Okay. Yeah, if you're full setting it, I can see more value there. I will say, this unit here, the Marauder Horseman, I don't think it's going to have the oomph that you want it to have in terms of if you're trying to get everything into combat. These units here, I wouldn't rely on them for output. They are fine, but if you're going output, it's probably like we don't necessarily go with that. I like them as a unit. I think they're very solid units, but I think you don't bring them specifically for the output. Having 2 units with ambush, though, and able to come in the back lines, I like that. I think they're good. I don't think you need to get rid of them. Horsemen are just for artillery scoring. Yeah, cool. Okay. That works. You've got a primary scoring unit. You haven't really got a secondary scoring unit, which killing your opponent is a valid way to deal with secondary scoring. We do have enough points for another unit of something. Maybe we just put it into the characters. All right, so if we're going for the wizard, how good is the Lore of the Shadowlands? Middling magic missile, conditional ward save, that's not bad. Terrain, it's not a bad vortex spell. Decent assailment spell. I do like that assailment spell. Obviously, Crawling Mist is great, and then Chains of Darkness. Bad. Actively bad. So we don't need to be a level 4 wizard. How many attacks do you start off with? Just 3? Yeah, it's 3. The fact that you've only got a hand weapon is a little bit rough, but I don't think there's any good weapons that you can give them. Right? Everything costs just too much to be worthwhile here. In terms of traits, is there anything that's worth going for? Oh, we could give it... I mean, if you know, a lot of the other stuff's gone for it, I wouldn't say no to the magic resist. This is a model you really don't want to be just chipped away at. Yeah, and then traits. I don't know that there's any traits that are worth going for. Yeah, that is fine. Cool. So it's just 35 points to spend here. Honestly, I'd probably bulk out the... Ooh, no. Icon of Darkness, and then, like, one more model here. That feels good, because the Icon of Darkness gives them -1 to be shot, and then they can... Oh, no, they can't go into skirmish. They can touch terrain, and then they can not be shot to death by Nom or Cathay. And sit in the back lines. Yeah, I think this is a pretty decent approach for what you're going for. I like the chariot that you're going for. I think that's fun. Objectively, if you're going for like the most competitive builds, just going triple dragons is going to be better. But I think this is a pretty solid approach. I do like what you've put together. Okie dokie. Evening Knots Collector. Cool. All right, sweet. That was a fun one to look at. I think the core could maybe like be played around with, but those Chaos Knights are not bad. Like the Dark Hearts as well is really nice, just to make it so they're more likely to do something. Really just want the Sorcerer for the reserve move, but we'll pick Assailments for one of the remaining. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Probably the Assailment and then like the Magic Missile or something to give you a bit of flexibility. Not a bad little spell lore there. All right. Let's go from evil chariots to definitely not evil Pegasus Knights. This is Alice Higgs' errantry list. Crusade list for GT. Really want to have 2 units of pegs, but having trouble fitting it in. Only have Royal Peg models options for characters. I do want to keep the Pilgrims as their job to sit in the middle, score, and take on infantry blocks for the peg flanks. Yeah, when I was looking at this one, I thought, is this actually better for being Errantry Crusade, or would it be better if it was just Grand Army? Because then you could go, instead of 305 points of Battle Pilgrims for 30 wounds, you could spend 140 odd points for the same number of wounds and just go, hand weapon shields, Yeoman. Hard to say. You do get some nice stuff here. So, in terms of what you've gone for, let's have a look at the loadout. So the General is a Duke with the Ogre Blade, Syrian's Locket, and Knightly Temper. So this is the I'm going to dice you up character. I like it more than the Heroic Killing Blow character, I think. So that makes sense. Then we've got a Baron with a Lance, Heroism, Great Helm, Icon of Fortune. I don't think I would go with this. Honestly, I think I would go with the Crackling Blade. I think the Crackling Blade is significantly more exciting in the... yeah, so what would I go with? Okay, so if I'm going to change the characters around, I think the Baron gets the Ogre Blade. If I just get rid of the Grommet Greyhound. Cool. So the Baron gets the Ogre Blade, and this is just like your standard slap character, and that feels pretty good. The Duke gets the Cackling Blade, and it can keep the Syrian's Locket as well, and feel pretty happy about that. We have to lose the Virtue of Knightly Temper. There's not really a virtue that makes sense to go on here, which is fine. You can give it Impetuous Knight. I don't hate that, but you've got it on the Paladin already. So this is just, you know, it saves you some points on the characters. Then we've got the Paladin with the Banner Echelons. Banner Echelons is just always good, because it really sucks to be shot. Obsidian Lodestone, Impetuous Knight. Yeah, this just feels good. I'd shave some points here for the Barded Pegasus, but it's not the end of the world. And then the Pegasus Knights. So if we were to make some cuts, like, we could probably save 80 points and put these two on regular Pegasus, or like 2 of them on regular Pegasus. And then that would give you the points to go for a split units of Pegasus Knights. It's not the end of the world. Crusader's Vow, very important to have on there. Yeah, I think that's a better setup, I would say. There's nothing stopping them from being... Yeah, okay. I would not say no to a damsel as well. I really like a level 1 damsel. A level 1 damsel who is always going to... You know, you'll roll, I guess, battle magic. If you get Oaken Shield, you maybe keep the Oaken Shield, because it's really nice in the Battle Pilgrims. But you mostly are just looking for the Lady's Gift. Your turn 1, you're casting it on the Pegasus Death Star, and then you're just flying around. That feels pretty solid. Then we've got this unit, which I'm not convinced it's worth 305 points, but it is what it is. 2 units of Knights Errant, which are pretty cheap. You definitely want to give them Crusader's Vow as well. And then we've got the Squires, 13 and 7. Like, the core is just so underwhelming for Errantry Crusaders. The big issue that I have with Errantry, Alex. I think it's very sad when you look at what you can get for your points. But something like this, I think, works pretty well. I've been thinking about Brett's in terms of what to do with them. So let's put this list in here. There we go. Yeah. I think this list works better as a Grand Army list, and I think you can probably... Bretonnian players probably want to move towards maybe dropping some of the Royal Pegasus down to just Barded Pegasus and just run around with like 2 Death Stars, 2 mini Death Stars, but, you know, que sera. 5 Knights Errant seems a little thin. They're just attacks that you have to take. You're bringing them for the first charge more than anything else. Hey, Matthew. How you doing? Yeah. But yeah, I think this list is better as Grand Army, especially if you want to try and fit in 2 units of Pegasus Knights, because you've got 660 points of just bad core. Like, that's the problem with how this list runs out. You can do this like a similar sort of loadout here or whatever, and then spend 150 or 185 points less on core, have better core, and then just fit, you know, 2 units of 4 Pegasus Knights in, something like that. Drop the Damsel maybe if you need the points. You drop the Virtue of the Impetuous Knight, which is a shame, but it's just something that doesn't fit in because you don't want to give them Impetuous. So yeah, there's definitely stuff that can be done. I'm excited to play some like 10 Pegasus lists. Looking forward to seeing how they shape up post FAQ. Okay, Hams Fan, who just posted on Discord saying that they had to leave. Having to duck in and out of the stream. If you get to my Orcs, can you please let me have either a Goblin Warboss and Chariot or a Warboss and Wyvern? Ideally with Wizarding Hat. I love the models and would really like to include one at least if possible. The Warboss and Wyvern is good, and the Goblin Warboss and Chariot is not bad. It's a cheap little beater, but we'll see how they fare. Okay, let's do it. Let's just go straight into that Orcs and Goblins list. Let's see what we're working with. So, The list is Double Doom Diver, great. Giant, not great. The Wolf Chariots, they can go in core, can't they? Oh, wow. No, I guess not. I would go 2 units of 1. You do not want to have them run away because 1 model's died. God damn it, it's messing with my... What is going on here? Old Wolf Builder, would you behave? All right, cool. So let's just have a look at it sort of bottom to top. We've got an Orc Boarboy mob. Boarboys are great. You all know my love for them. Shields, Biggins, Heavy Armor, Calf Spears, Banner of Butchery. Cool. Why is it so many points? Oh, because I normally only go 7. Okay, 8 is fine. We can tweak if needs be. In core, there's a lot of orcs. There's a lot of orcs. A lot of orcs and also goblins. So the problem with this here is that the core for Wolf Chariots, our core is Old World Builder saying that. Yeah, I thought that was weird. I just thought I'd remembered wrong. Yeah, it's for some reason saying that they're not. I don't really understand what's going on here. Even if I change that here. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, by the by, we don't have to worry about that too much. You've got a lot of... If we're trying to make this into a competitive list, and this is the context of this is Hamsfan is one of my coaching students. So this is not me just sort of picking a random person and be like, hey, don't do this. Within the context of what you want to achieve, I think I would recommend that there are some tweaks that need to be made. Like I could tweak this so that it is more optimal, but I think the problem you're going to have is that the core here is bad. Like it's very bad. Orcs and Goblins, a lot of the power that Orcs and Goblins have comes from the core because Night Goblins with Fanatics are really, really, really good. Now, we don't have to go 3 units of 3, but if you're going for 750 points of core, make that 850 points by the time we've put the Wolf Chariots in, and you don't have the things that make them good, the list is going to really struggle just to achieve much. So, yeah, maybe this is one that we just talk about when we have our session, honestly. That might be a way to do it. Because I don't want to just, like, rip the entire list apart and then say, hey, here's the version that's good, and I've just gone, here's 3 units of Fanatics. But sort of, like, general pointers. What I would say is these characters on foot are not going to achieve much. The BSB on foot is fine. You just go, like, BSB, you make it tanky, you probably just give it a Charm Shield for points, and then give it probably some sort of magic banner, maybe Banner of the Swirling Wind would feel pretty good here to give some defense to the unit that it's joined. The Goblin Oddnob, level 3, Idol of Gork, War Magic, that feels fine. That's just solid. You're going to swap into Itchy Nuisance. This is a good caster. Goblin Warboss on Chariot. I probably wouldn't spend this many points on it. I would just go... I mean, this gives him a 3-up save. Either you give him a Charmed Shield and just go fully into the points there, or you just make it really cheap and you go for like Charmed Shield and maybe Trollhide Trousers as well, and don't worry about anything else. But I don't hate the Goblin Warboss and Chariot. This character here isn't doing anything. You could put it on a boar and it would have some use, but otherwise, yeah. I do think there's an answer in Orc Boys. Yeah, I don't hate Orc Boys. The problem is, if you're doing it, I think there are better ways to do it. But if you wanted to go like... So this unit here, 15 with Light Armor, Shields, Warbows for 90 points. This is a really good secondary objective holder. This is not a bad unit to sit on objectives and just score. Like, I like them from that angle. Then we've got the Wolf Rider mob, which is generally good. 28 more Orc mob, I don't think is where I want to be. If you're spending almost 200 points on a unit, I'd rather go with something like 200 points of Night Goblins, or spend more and go for the Black Orcs. So, like, you either lean towards, like, here's the Fanatic answer, or if we're doing the Orcs, we're going to do it in a way that is just good, where you've got that 3-up armor save and half of them have great weapons. Then, you know, a third unit of Orcs, we definitely don't want 3 units of Orcs. That's over. There's too many. And then we've got the Goblin mob as well. And again, these Goblins probably just want to be Night Goblins, realistically. for the Itchy Nuisance. And then I probably also wouldn't bother with the Spider Banner because they're not looking to kill anything. They're there for combat res. You know, the Spider Banner, let's say best case scenario, they get the charge. No, they get charged and no one wounds them. So you've got 2 ranks of, like, let's say 7 wide. So you've got 15 attacks. You're getting 2.5 poison hits, which means that 2 of your wounds are +2 to wound. For the amount of points you've spent on the Spider Banner, which might not even translate into an extra wound, you probably just go for a War Banner or like the Monster Hunter standard, so it can't be stomped. This is a unit that would really benefit from not being stomped, I think. Something like that would be the way to do things. So let's go at hands. Discussion roughly 1 hour, 55 minutes. And we can look at building that. Like, I think this is one that requires more back and forth discussion, because I don't want to just take all of the stuff that you like out of there and make a list that is good but not what you want to play. So we can look at that next time we have a chat about. Or just like message me in the coaching channel and we'll tweak around with it. Cool. All right. Let's have a look at Orc Boy Phil, who didn't submit orcs. So let's go with the Slayer Nar campaign list. Well, this is a contingent for my Carrick Carradine army. No Ungrim, as it's for a narrative campaign, and I'm trying to avoid named characters. Oh, I've clicked the wrong thing. Is this the... Yeah, perfect. Okay, so this is a Slayer list, which is a thing. YouTube still got its weird naming convention. Hail Hydra, is that you, Hams fan? Is that... Like I say, we can have a proper chat about it, but because of a lot of the strength of Orcs and Goblins being in their core, we've not managed to put any of that in. A not good thing as well. Yeah, I know. But the problem is Slayers are just bad in general, so I can't really maximize it, which is okay. So, double Bugmans, double Goblin Hewer. Honestly, I don't think the Goblin Hewers make it in, but it's for a narrative campaign, so, like, you know, sure. The maths on Goblin Hewers is depressingly bad. It just doesn't do as much shooting as it feels like it should do. Ballistic Skill 3, and where does it tell you how it shoots? Whirling Doom, here we go. So you make a number of hits. At least it's not multiple shots. But yeah, it mathematically just doesn't even really kill goblins, which is a shame. They don't do as much shooting as they look like they should. Yeah, exactly. That's the downside. But again, narrative campaign, so screw it. So let's just look at what we've got in terms of the list. Okay, Wards of Grimnir is the 6-up ward save against non-magical shooting. Yep. I hate that exists. I think that you're paying for too many hand weapons for a start. This is a unit 25, and this is a unit for... How many hand weapons are you paying for? God damn. Okay. Sure. I will say Dwarves is one of my weak points in terms of... I can do normal Dwarf lists, but when we're getting into, like, this is the... Yeah. It's hard to say. Right. So this unit... Wait, can you have Wards of Grimnir on the Rangers? Oh, any unit. Okay, sure. I actually don't hate that on the Rangers. Okay, so this unit feels kind of okay, honestly. I'd like to give them move through cover. So that's the Vanguard rune. Oh no, it's not a Vanguard rune. It's a character rune. All right, never mind. We can't do that. Instead of, or maybe additionally to the Wards of Grimnir, I'd just like to see the BSB. You haven't got a BSB, right? Yeah. Okay. So let's go BSB, and then let's give them the Master Rune of Grugni, and we'll just lean on that for the ward saves instead of the pretty terrible Wards of Grimnir. So we're just going to get rid of that and that. This unit that's just Giant Slayers, we're going to keep the wards on because they are a little bit more likely to be solo. And again, you're paying loads of points for additional hand weapons. Nope, I haven't collected them. I was just blaming you for taking more additional hand weapons. But let's go BSB. You can't go anything that gives you tankiness, can you? Or is it Rune of Grit that gives you +1 toughness? Sure, we can put that on a BSB so that they are slightly less likely to fall over with their T6. That feels okay. Got some Beastman games tomorrow. Thanks very much for that. Have a great evening. You are welcome, Matthew. Enjoy your games tomorrow, and enjoy your weekend. Okay, so we're going for the BSB. Frankly, I think we get the points by just dropping the Dragon Slayer. How good is a Dragon Slayer? Not that good, honestly. But cheap. They are cheap. We probably just go 20 and 20. Like, that's how we save the points, realistically. Something like this. Yeah. Oh, hey, that actually works out perfectly on the points. I think the only change I want to make is put the BSB in with the banner, because I think that's a more effective way of keeping these 2 units alive as they push up the board. And then this is Fury, Fury, Flight. You're going to throw your weapon? Nah, you're not. You're always going to be marching. So let's just, like, even just going for a 3rd Rune of Fury feels better. Your strength 5, right? Strength 4. God, I hate that. Okay, so let's go. Now you're strength 7 with the great weapon, and you've got 2 additional attacks. So you've got, what, 4 attacks, and yeah. Rune of Passage, Rune of the Furnace feels fine. Rune of the Dishonored, Rune of Endless Battle, Rune of the Dauntless. I have to read what some of these do. Reroll hit rolls in challenge, so an extra attack is... Oh, the extra strength is quite nice in the challenge. Sure. Something like this, I think, feels fine. It's really hard to criticize or add to this list because of what it is. I think, realistically, if you want it to be as competitive possible, which is not what this is looking for, but if you're watching this and wondering how to do competitive Slayers, I think it's literally just abusing lots of MSU Doomseekers and how technically you can have more than 3 in special because they are like a 0 to 3 or 0 to 2 per unit, 0 to 4 per unit of Slayers or characters you've got. So you take some characters here and then you just go like 12 to 16 Doomseekers or whatever stupidity it is, and then you just make your opponent really struggle to target you down and you just run at them. I think that's the sort of most competitive build, but it's weird and it's certainly something. Alright, so this is Oak Boy Phil. I always feel a little bit bad when I can't add anything really useful to a list, but I'm not 100% sure what I could add to this one. God damn it, green screen! I really need to change that around. What I need to do is all of my plug sockets are full. I need to move... like, I've got an extra extension cable with... Instead of just having 2 slots in, it has 4 slots. So I just need to upgrade there, and then I can plug the second set of lights in, and then my problem should be resolved. But it's a problem for future me. Much in the future me, realistically. Okay, where are we up to? So we've got a Warriors of Chaos list, a Wild Hunt list, a Royal Host list, and then a Build Me a Warriors of Chaos list, which may have to wait, depending on how much brain I have. Look, Snorri Chaos Trolls. Sorry, Amy, yours didn't make the cut on the basis of yours was looked at last week and there were about 20 to get in. But repost it into the Discord channel and I can have a look at your Chaos list that has Chaos Trolls in that I'm sure is going to be very good and not be the new vestige of making me lose my mind. You'll repost it later. Cool. All right. Let's have a look at Tonk's list. So this is Wild Hunt in Square Base Comp, and he says, "I wonder what you do with this list." And we did briefly talk about lists before, but yeah. Okay. So this is Double Dragon, then a Captain. Wild Riders, Glade Riders, Sister the Thorn, Beast Packs, Warhawk Riders. So, I'm really not a fan of the Warhawk unit having so many points in there. I think I just can't bring myself to put what are they? Yeah, like 500 points into Warhawks. It's too. Do all my students try and make you lose your mind? A little bit, yeah. Yeah, it does seem to be. It does seem to be the case. So the general is TOP, Armor of Meteoric Iron, Befuddlement of Mischiefs. I don't think Resplendent of Luminescence, Befuddlement of Mischiefs is super worthwhile here. I think it's okay, but Resplendent of Luminescence is good. Annoyance of Netlings is good, which you've got on this one already. I would then just go like Aspect to the Cat. I think gives you more play than sure. The -1 weapon skill is nice. The initiative is kind of whatever. This feels more useful. It gives you Armor Bane and reroll hit rolls in challenge. You're just going to get a little bit more out of your juice there. Is there anything else that we need for the last 20 points? I don't know if there is, honestly. I think this is about fine. Yeah, I don't feel like we're really missing anything on this character. Yeah, that feels okay. Then we've got the second one, which is... you don't have any weapons. Oh, yeah, the Merricu's... Okay. What have we gone for? Huntmaster's Pride. This is... Yeah, this is an odd weapon. So you're only strength 4. And your AP 2, multiple wounds 2, you can't increase your strength. So the what you've built around is the Merricu's Locus, which is you can't increase your strength, your opponent can't increase their strength. So you've gone for a weapon that's the base strength 4, but like into a dragon combat, you're going to be wounding on 6s. Even though it is AP 2, multiple wounds 2, you're just really not getting anything out of it. And there's not enough monstrous infantry and cavalry in the meta for it to be super worthwhile. So I don't think this is it. I don't know what is it. That's the question. Man. I think realistically, instead of going, I want to do like this is a gimmick, right? It's a talking point, but it's probably not worth the points. If we're being just realistic about it. Because instead of going for you can't increase your strength, we could just go for the Armor of Destiny. And that gives us a 4 board save, which is more reliability, more defense. Because Merricu's focus is only... It stops them from increasing their strength in melee only. And like I said to you, dragons don't die to great weapons. They die to cannons and other dragons. Realistically, and it doesn't stop those, whereas a 4 board save. And then you could go, honestly, maybe this character goes because we've got spare points, so this is the character that goes like Aspect to the Cat to make it the general because it's got the ward save, and then you go this one can be the challenge bot, and we give it the Resplendent Luminescence and the Annoyance of Netlings. Like, that feels a little bit better, I think. This one needs a shield as well, because we've got it with the heavy armor from the Armor of Destiny, so it just gives you a little bit more oomph in the shooting phase. Yeah, like, I think I like that more. These are just 2 well-defended characters now. Cool. We've got Wild Riders. I don't know that they need... banners. Like the +1 combat res is fine. Rerolling pursuit rolls is like I think I could see this one. I definitely wouldn't bother with on this one, the war banner. I think the unit should do so much damage that it just kills what it's touching. Can you hear my fire alarm going off? It doesn't seem to be going when I'm not talking, but I'm going to be talking most of the time, so how annoying is that fire alarm? Because it's probably not going to stop for the next 25 minutes, realistically. It's not a real fire alarm. Just where I live, the fire alarm goes off pretty frequently. You can hear it. You can hear it. Bugger. Bugger, bugger, bugger. Could I put out the fire? I wish. This is probably going to go for the next 30 minutes. Honestly, I'm surprised that it hasn't caused issues with the stream before. Alright, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to mute. I'm going to unmute when I have something to say. and I'm gonna finish tweaking this list, and then I might just have to call it because this is likely to go on for another 20 or 30 minutes. Oh, it's just my talk? Okay, that saved me from pressing the button. Okay, so I think if we're going for a banner, like Totem of Wrath on Wild Riders, just to make juice... It stopped! Oh, it doesn't normally stop that quickly. Amazing. That is very pleasing. Okay, so the Banner of the Wild Hunt for the reroll and the pursuit rolls, I think makes sense. And the Totem of Wrath here makes a lot of sense. Like, this feels like a solid place to put it, because then you're getting a lot of output. AP3, rerolling ones to wound. This is going to just blend things. I could see putting characters with this unit Wild Riders, honestly. The Warhawk Riders, 5 of them is just, it's too many. Like, it's so many points that's so easy to kill. I like a unit or 2 of 3. Like, I could see, so you could go Obsidian Lodestone. Like, 2 units like this, I think, are interesting. They are pricey, but it's harder to remove them. So something like this could work, but I think even 2 units of 3 is probably too spicy. So like 1 unit of 3, I like as an annoyance piece, but probably wouldn't go too much further there. I don't see a reason to go cats over the dogs. Let me just remind myself. So the dogs have 9, cats have 7, and they just have different equipment, right? Different rules. Yeah, there's no need to go for the cats here. So you're just gonna go like 1 hound, 1 hound and 1 leader, and that keeps you nice and cheap. Cats was models, really. That's fine. You don't need to go with 2 dogs for the beast packs. 6 dogs and 3 cats. Just go 1 and 1. That'll solve your problems there. Okay. So, what I think is interesting is you can juice up this unit by putting more stuff in it, / defensive characters. So you could go, for example, you could go a Glade Captain BSB with the Banner of Swirling Wind, so your mines want to be shot. And then let's go Wild Rider Kindred. Great weapon, because you're going to slap. You're going to be AP3 rerolling ones to wound, which is pretty spicy. And then we don't need anything here, do we? No, cool. And then I guess a Charmed Shield is not the end of the world. We probably don't even need to go for that realistically, but for 5 points, I'm not opposed to just going a little bit more cheap. And then we put them on a stag. The reason you put them on a stag is the stag is the only way of getting first charge for Wood Elves, so that gives you just a little bit more oomph again. And this character will join the Wild Riders, probably the Totem Wrath, and just add a lot more punch to them. And yeah, like that feels like a better allocation of points you've got. Nice. Okay, and then I think, honestly, I'd probably just go for a 3rd unit of Wild Riders, or like more Glade Riders. So this unit with... I like a Glade Knight in them, if possible. Reserve move with True Flight Arrows, that feels good. And then this unit with Banner of Springtide. Yeah, that's the one with Reserve Move and Arcane Bodkins. So you got a couple of options. Like, actually, let's just bump these up to 8, so it gives them a little bit more output, a little bit more tankiness. And then we'll bump this one up to 7, and then we're going to be really sad that we, for some reason, are 1 point over. God, that sucks. All right, we're dropping the Charmed Shield down to a regular shield on the BSB. It probably doesn't matter. Like, this is a unit that wants to hit hard, and if it gets hit, you've misused them. So, like, I think this would be how I would tweak this list, and it feels like it's got a little bit more punch and a little bit more ability to hold objectives as well with the Glade Riders, because sometimes you just have to sit out in the open. Did you take Impetuous off the Hawks? The points there. I actually like the Furious Charge on them. So it gets them to 4 attacks per model, all at strength 4. I think that's enough oomph that they kind of do something. I'd probably also put True Flight arrows on them, but you haven't got points, and I don't want to piddle around to put 3 points worth of True Flight arrows on some Warhawk riders, but that's something that you could try and squeeze in if you wanted to. It's not a big change, it's just like a slight tweak that I would make if you had the points. But yeah, I think that looks pretty good. I like Wild Hunt. I think it's pretty okay. It feels pretty decent, or less not decent. So we'll move that one up. Cool. All right. Then there are the next 2 lists, I believe, are both from limited collections. So. Where is Pat's list? I think it was a little further down. Maybe it's a little further up. Can't remember the order that these things were in. I've moved everything around now. There was context here. Here we go. Back in the days of 6th edition, both myself and my husband played Warhammer Fantasy. His love at the times were Skaven and Tomb Kings, the latter because he always had a fondness for Egyptian themes. Nice. Oh no, most of the Skaven didn't survive the passage of time and house moves. That is sad, but a good amount of Tomb Kings. A lot of chariots and skeletal horses, a lack of monsters and especially dragons. You don't mind a couple of purchases, but not too many. That's fair. And the cohort were additionally 2 units back in the day, but I really don't have a lot of confidence in skeletal spearmen doing anything. All right, let's have a look at this royal host list. So. These horse archers should be in core, I believe. Unless I'm misremembering. I might be talking on my backside. I don't play a lot of Royal Host. Nope, I am talking on my backside. Okay, that's fine. That is fine. So, we've got a big unit of chariots, a unit of 4 Tomb Guard chariots with the Icon of Rakaf. This is really good. Again, if you've watched or fixed my list, you've probably seen this come up. But at any point in your move, you can reform. And a reform is you just change everything you want to change, so you can face wherever you want to go. This is really good. I actually quite like the Death Mask on this unit to give them terror. Oh, hey, you've got it on the Tomb King already. Okay, that serves me for not reading ahead. Then we've got the archers, just 10 of them, and then you've got an infantry cohort. So this is the poison, amulet, and then Banner of the Desert Winds for Vanguard and reserve move. Okay, so this is a list that doesn't really have to worry all that much about casting reserve move, because the chariots have it built in. Yep. And the infantry cohort has it on a banner, and then you just suck it up that the Tomb Scorpions don't have it, because they can ambush if there needs be, and the horse archers have it as well. Okay, yeah, cool. So I think the basic concept already looks pretty solid. I don't like these archers being separate. Let's just put them all into this unit here, for the sake of what we're doing. I think the bigger unit being able to score and hold is more useful than having the... do they have Motley Crew? They do. Okay, so their armor save is going to be... I guess it doesn't matter too much. It'll be a 6-up save against shooting, but... I mean, you're undead, so you can just rest them, right? Cool. Sweet. So, this is a big Death Star of Chariots. This is a big Death Star of Chariots. What do we got character-wise? So we've got a Royal Herald and a Tomb King. Both of these should go in the same unit, because the Royal Herald can challenge... can soak wounds. So we've got the Tomb King with a flail, level 1 wizard with a rise, because it has to be... There's a lot of upgrades there, some of which I do not recognize. So this gives them terror, the Death Mask. The Crown of Kings lets you resurrect warriors, archers, horsemen, or skeleton horse archers. You don't have any of those apart from the skeleton horse archers. It doesn't let you res the infantry cohort, unfortunately, because it's specifically a different thing. So there's not any point in having that, I'm afraid. Royal Mantle is Improve armor by 1. My will be done in a bubble. That's probably fine, because then you can have it affecting both units of chariots. I don't hate that. And then we may as well upgrade the flail, because we've got some spare points now. So let's go with... because you can always bounce wounds onto the herald, so I don't care about losing, like, not having a ward save, because you can just make the other one really, really spicy. The Flight of Skulls is... it feels like it should be better than it is. That AP1 really sucks. Okay, I guess we're not going with a magic weapon. I'd still go with a great weapon. Like, you've got terrible initiative anyway, so you may as well just double down and have a slightly better weapon here. Yeah. Okay, so that feels okay. I mean, we could give it a ward save if you haven't already. Yeah, let's just give it Talisman of Protection, because having a ward save is better than not having a ward save. Vital Skills is my favourite Tomb King magic weapon. Thematically, it's very cool. It's a cool item, but AP1 in this meta feels really rough. Mirage Banners. Minus 1 to be shot, right? That is good. But can I interest you in Totem of Wrath? And you just make this Death Star absolutely ruin everything it touches. God damn it. Remember, you get the AP only on the weapon attacks, but you get the reroll ones on the impact hits as well. So that feels pretty okay. I do actually think Totem of Wrath is really nice here. Icon of Rulership. I cannot remember what Icon of Rulership does. For the life of me. Oh, yeah, cool. So it gives you the actual proper impact hits. And it doubles the unit strength. So that feels pretty okay. I would like to see... Magic Resist is nice, but your Spell Eater Axe, which sucks. I guess, like, how many attacks have you got? 3? It would be nice just to have the great weapon attacks instead of a Spell Eater Axe. Can the... okay, yeah, let's swap this around. So, the Tomb Captain, who only has a halberd anyway, so we're going to give them the Spell Eater Axe, and the Herald is going to lose the Spell Eater Axe and gain a great weapon, and then I guess, can we give it the Warding Splint, or is that specifically... yeah, so we could go Warding Splint here to get a ward save there. That just feels a little bit more beefy, and then the Charm Shield can just become a regular shield. Although you probably won't use it much because you're using the great weapon. Okay. That feels pretty good. That feels pretty good. There are no magical attacks. No, there is. There's the unit champion. Cool. Then we've got the level 1 wizard, Skeletal Steed, Necromancy... okay, Heretic Jar. That's the you can res twice, isn't it? Yeah, so you can res a second time, and then Scroll of Summoning is you can res again. That is pretty nice. I do like the Scroll of Summoning there. How does the Rise work for Chariots? Is it only a single wound? Level of Wizardry. Okay, so it's worth buffing up to level 2 here. That 30 points means that you're doubling the amount you heal into the Chariots. And then this one is Scroll of Withering. I do like the Scroll of Withering. It's a spicy meatball. And then we've got the Obsidian Lodestone from Magic Resist and Tome of Spellcraft. So you're re-rolling. What are you even trying to cast with this? I actually don't know what you're trying to cast with this this model. How are you finding the new scrolls? I actually haven't played many games with them. I've tried them once, if I'm being entirely honest. And in the game I played, or maybe it was twice, I've played them less than, I've played them a handful of times at best. It feels so long ago since I actually played them. Anyway, I've had some limited success. The one that sticks out is I played into Cathay, and I managed to kill 2 balloons in one turn with Ushabti, because I just really nuked him. One of them lost its ward save. One of them was a character balloon, and one of them was a regular balloon. So the one that I turned off the ward save on the big one, and then I Plague of Rusted the other one, and between the two, and some good rolls. But with Jaff's like just melted them. I think I hit them with like a Ruby Ring of Ruin and like maybe another Magic Missile as well or something like that. There was a good chunk in there. Maybe I'd already weakened them up, but I remember killing 2 balloons in one turn, which felt pretty good. With the cohort. Okay. What are you casting into the cohort? Because you don't need reserve move, because you've got reserve move already. I mean, you could go Jaff's Cursed Blades, but that doesn't feel super useful. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I think we'll drop a Tomb Scorpion here because we're struggling on points a little bit. But like generally, I think this is doing what it wants to do pretty well. I'm not 100% sure this is the list for Scroll of Withering. I think we're a lot of points over, and maybe we make up for that by dropping that. I also don't know why you've got Tome of Spellcraft. There might be something that I'm missing. If there's something I'm missing, feel free to put it back in. But I would say it's almost more worth going Lore Familiar Power Scroll instead of the Obsidian Lodestone. And then on a key turn, you could give them... I always forget the name of it. Earthen Ramparts. 5 ward save. Like, that feels pretty okay. Probably the change I'd make. But, yeah. I mean, this looks... I like the vibes. And I feel like it's not awful. I do feel like it is not awful. What do we do with those last 20-something points? I mean, this unit may as well have full command. If you're going all in on a unit of 6 chariots, you may as well give them the command as well. And then, yeah, you're just sort of a few points shy, so then just going like 1 more Royal Host Warrior. But I think this feels like it probably does what you're trying to achieve. It's not the most tuned list in the world, but it's also Tomb Kings. So you've got more scope to be a little bit more free with the choices. Like, I don't think that the units in here are bad, but it's not like the really refined Tomb King list. But it's also, I think, pretty solid. That unit of Tomb Guard Chariots with the Icon of Rakaf and the double characters is going to slap. That's going to really suck for anyone who gets charged by it. The double great weapons with the Totem of Wrath and all the impact hits as well. Yeah. It's a spicy meatball. That is a spicy meatball. All right. Cool. And then let's have a look at Safari's list. So Safari says, my Warriors of Chaos tried making an army mostly from the battalion box. So this is a Warpfire Dragon, but no other dragons. And I like the general vibes here that we've gone for. But I think I'd probably tweak around the core. If you don't want to spend a lot of money, like we're just trying to stick to the box as much as possible, I think that's cool. So let's do that. Warpfire Dragon, level 1 Demonology. I really like Battle Magic. Oaken Shield. If you roll Oaken Shield, you're super happy. If you don't roll Oaken Shield, you take Hammerhand, and you're still pretty happy. Then we've got the Chosen Knights. I know you've only got 10. I really want, like, to bulk up these units. So maybe we just go like 6 here, because then this is a standalone unit. You don't have to put characters in. They just hit pretty hard on their own. I like the setup you've gone for here, but we will give them drilled. Dark Hearts feels fine as well. I'm pretty okay with that. This unit is just standalone. It will kill stuff. I like it. Then this unit here, we've got... Let's just keep them cheap. Let's just say, don't even bother with command. Just go unit champion and Mark of Khorne and just run at them. I think that is, if you're going only with 4 models, pretty solid. And then we change probably the loadout of these characters here. I've got more stuff, so I can change the Wizard in Knights and the Lord in the Chosen Knights. Very cool. But have you considered characters on chariots? Like, you've got the boxes. This is a great time to be like, hey, I want to run like a beater on a chariot. So like this feels good. I think the core wise, I wouldn't go with 2 units of 4. 2 units of 14. I'd go like maybe a unit of 18 or 16, something like that. And then this unit can go. You've used the Icon of Darkness already, right? So maybe we just go Banner of Swirling Winds and we just sit and tank. I wouldn't go Mark of Slaanesh. Mark of Undivided is really, really strong. Just having the consistency of re-rolling, and also enhanced reflexes, that's +2 to initiative with hand weapons. You're initiative 6, you don't need to be initiative 7. Like, yes, it puts you ahead of initiative 4 stuff on the charge, or initiative 3 stuff on the charge, but I think just generally this is going to suit you better. What I would say, instead of enhanced reflexes, actually, what if you just went Battle Hunger for the extra range, and then you also went with the Taskmaster's Scourge, sorry, and that'll give you the ability to actually get into combat with them first, as opposed to setting up to be charged. That feels better overall, in my opinion. So something like that, and then the Marauders, I would go with a bigger unit of Marauders. I would say, maybe even if you just go 16 hand weapon shields and a natural fortitude, something like that, this unit can sit and hold an objective pretty well. In fact, let's go up to 20. If you've got 10 Marauders, I'm assuming you've got enough to make 20 of them. And then, character-wise, it becomes difficult if we're trying to stick with... I know you've said you don't need to stick too closely to what's in the box, but what would I do with these characters? Like, I will say I'm not really a big fan of the Sorcerer Lord on foot. On horse, sorry. Maybe it's a Sorcerer Lord on foot, because you haven't got anything to hide it in, is what I'm thinking. Either you go like a Demonology caster to buff up a unit of knights, or you just go like a blaster caster. But I don't feel like this one is doing either of those jobs amazingly. So maybe we go just on foot instead of in the unit, and then just give it like Ruby Ring of Ruin, like so. And then we want to give this unit Brazen Collar as well, like something like this, and you could just sit it with the Marauders. You roll 5 spells in battle magic, so let's do that. And you've got a bunker that doesn't give you +1 to cast. Marauders can't do that anymore, but you can fire double magic missiles out of it, or triple magic missiles, because you're going to Ruby Ring of Ruin / roll into Fireball because you're going Spell Familiar. And like this is a pretty okay unit just to sit on the back lines on an objective and have some reach and still do stuff. And also being able to roll into the ward save means that if you're T4 with a 5-up save, it's really hard for opponents to interact with you. So like something like that I think works pretty well. And then in terms of the character, I don't hate the Chaos Lord on Steed. I think I like the thematically on Chariot. If I was being, gun to my head, what's better, the Chaos Lord on Steed or on Chariot? It's probably the Steed. It's got more flexibility. I wouldn't be running the Rune Sword. I do need to remind myself. Yeah. So this is... You've got an ensorcelled hand weapon already, which is strength 0, AP 1, and then you don't get the weapon skill initiative, but you're already weapon skill 7. So it's not a big deal there. And then you've gone T6 with the Demonic Plate Mail. That's fine, but I don't think it's getting you very much. Like, if you want to go offensive, Ogre Blade and the Paymaster's Coin is one option you could go for. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like the lone Chaos Lord days are maybe a little bit behind. Now that it's 10 points more for an Ogre Blade, you can't go for Paymaster's Coin and also Favors of the Gods. That does really suck. Keeping it to the kit then. And I've talked myself out of the the Lord on Horse. This is just a pretty tanky beater. Like, it's, 7 wounds? Because you start with 4 and you get... No, it's 8 wounds. 8 wounds at T5 with a 3-up save and a 5-up ward, and then you go Great Weapon. and you've got the triple save with the Talisman of the Carrion Crow. Like, this feels pretty good. I also probably wouldn't bother with Enchanting Aura because you're tanky enough to not need it. So something like this could be one way to take the Chaos Lord. Wanted to add him to the Chosen. Yeah, you could do that if you just wanted to keep him cheaper. If you're doing that, I think the problem is the weapon. Like, I'm not sure what weapon you give a Chaos Lord on horse anymore. It probably is just a great weapon, honestly. Double Favor of the Gods. I don't mind the Paymaster's Coin if we're just looking for like a cheap item to make us better in combat. Like, something like that, I think, is reasonably effective. You could even still go for the Talisman of the Carrion Crow, because then if you run around solo on the back of the horse, you're 4 wounds at T5 with a 2-up armor save. So you can run it around solo as a bit of a like solo nightmare. That might be the way to do it. I could see that. I don't think there's anything counter trait wise that is worth putting in though. No. Yeah, I like something like this. I could see working out relatively well, and I think it lines up more with just having your units all pretty not self-explanatory, self-reliant, so that they can all do stuff, but then they can work well together as well. So let's say something along those lines. I'm still not 100% sold on the core, but something like this is probably how I would take it. All right, well, it has been great, but it is getting late. I am going to call it a night, and thank you all for being here. Hope you have a great evening, weekend, all that good stuff, and I'll be back on Tuesday. I think we've got another podcast episode coming. I might... No, I'm not going to make any promises.